and try to pick your favorite thing and just mention one thing and not list off everything, so that everybody else can have a chance. I don't know. A lot of stuff happened last time,
and we are live.
It was just it was a big battle.
That was a big thing. Yeah,
that was a big thing.
We befriended that little girl.
After the battle, yes, she was. She was. Or I don't trust her. Yeah, Ohm does not trust her really. A little bit because she can cook. So Ohm likes food. But yeah, Ohm doesn't trust. Still not 100% sure whether or not is she a spy for the pirates, or is she genuinely not a spy and actually
she helped us get that cannon off of the other ship.
Yeah, that was fun. That was definitely, I think that was my favorite part of last episode, was doing all the different things, skill checks that we had to do, and to be able to try and get this cannon up. It definitely, and then we barely made it, you know. It came down to one roll. It was really, that was cool. I like that. That was probably my favorite part.
Yeah, I would say for me, being able to get a little bit of an interlude with Kestis and Claire over tea, actually having some
talk about tea
over tea, and getting to kind of get a little bit more deep into that, the additional elements of, you know, what might bring us all together is pretty cool for me. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I remember having get that cannon off. So I remember rushing down there, helping take off, what was it, like bolts or whatnot, and then trying to figure out what in the world to do after that.
The longest 60 seconds in D&D history.
Right.
Shit was bonkers.
Yeah. DM says, you guys got 10 seconds. 2 minutes later.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Shit was crazy. Was that everybody? I don't think I heard from Claire.
Well, I was going to say that the Kestis Claire tea break. Yeah. See Claire dropping a little bit of the shield there. A little bit.
Right up. Yeah. Yeah. With the dreamy voice. All right, then. I guess we can get started here. Anything else anybody wants to bring up? Anything that was any memory sparked or something like that?
Well, let's see. We were going to some hideout place, right? Is that what it was? I was trying to remember exactly where it was that we were going. I remember we were going to someplace.
We were at the Sky Islands, or like
right. We're at the Sky Islands, but we're going someplace specific.
Floating islands.
That the right.
Yeah, we're on our way to like a rebel hideout, insurgent hideout kind of thing. It's my understanding of that.
Ika had mentioned that she knew somebody who, you know, I think she referred to as the shaman, who might be able to help ensure that affixing this cannon to the Spelljammer doesn't cause any unforeseen problems, who also can give you all a place to kind of hide out at and figure out exactly what the best next step should be. I believe she mentioned that the shaman was kind of like on the way toward where the zealot hideout might be, maybe, you know, some stuff like that. You guys are pretty cagey about what your intentions are here on the on this moon of their artis, and yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Last thing that happened was you all kind of arrived in this dugout, this alcove in the underside of this massive floating island where you kind of parked the ship, and Ika was like, hey guys, this is a great place to hang out then, and we kind of have to walk the rest of the way to go find the shaman's place. And guess Ica would say before you all depart, if you're going to, you're all kind of hanging out on the deck of the ship in this like little alcove, this like dugout. And she says, we can climb through there to go up. You see like this kind of hole that goes up through the roof of this cave. And she says, now, fair warning. All right, this place is a little weird. Okay, the land kind of changes. I don't know. I think Terrestrians are responsible for it. I don't know if that's the case. She never admits to doing it. But it's kind of hard to know where things are unless, of course, you know what to look for. And I just happen to know what to look for. Here's the thing, though. Lots of weird, probably weird for you all. I'm kind of used to it now, I guess. Wildlife creatures that exist specifically on this island. They're like a little bit more intense than everywhere else in the Ionosi. So any of you got any like, I don't know, hunting or like wilderness kind of expertise? There's a lot of creatures here that are incredibly dangerous, and if we're not careful, we all might die. And I can't guide you and watch all of your backs at the same time, at least not by myself.
Well, I think that might be a particular set of skills that I might be able to bring to the table.
Yeah.
I'd say.
That's it? You're not going to go into any more details? Okay, fine, sure. I mean, if you're confident, it's your friends. I guess we're going this way. Is everyone ready to go?
Are we all making a trip up there, or are we having anybody stay with the ship? How the rest of you feeling here?
We're just going to be hanging around here all day. We do have other mission things to take care of while we are here. I do believe we are on a mission as well as this. So I guess it's best we be on our way.
The just kind of as a side note, the idea of coming here was to repair the ship, or I thought that there was some.
Yeah, there would be a way to repair the ship, and also to speak to a professional about how spelljamming works. The shaman is a professional, or according to Ica, somebody who understands how spelljamming works. It's not very common in the Ionosi. It's very common down on the like mainland underneath on Pandora, but it's not common up here. They kind of keep the technology for themselves, so it's very rare to find somebody up in the floating islands who knows anything about it.
Well, I'm happy to lead the charge, or make sure that those of us who do make this journey here are safe in that passage. But I'm not sure if that's something that we all want to go do, or if some of us may be better served here, taking care of the ship in our stead.
Being somewhere new, I don't know if we should split up at this. The last time we split up, you died, so I don't know if that would be a very good idea.
I agree with that logic.
I go where my brother goes.
I was about to say, Kestis, I'd stick with you. Don't want you leaving us again.
Same here, but I also kind of want to see what the animals are.
Fair. Well, I mean, I think that we do have a bit of a vested interest in learning a little bit more about how this ship works and what we may be able to do with it and use it a little bit better. So, I know that isn't.
Questions.
Did we end up getting that cannon fixed, or do we still have more work to do on that front?
Oh, there's quite a bit before that thing gets installed.
All right. Well, is there going to be any progress made on that before we I guess I'm wondering, is there a benefit to any of us staying with the ship? Should we all go, or should we not go?
I am wholly against that. Ica, you know this place better. Are we better served all going together, or?
You definitely have a better chance of surviving if you're all there to help each other. But you're also probably sneakier if you split up. The thing is, for those of you who stay here, there's no way to know what happens to you all. I did mention that, the shaman I think the shaman moves things around, like kind of moves it's weird, but whenever I came to visit, uh, it always seemed like it took longer to get to her than it did to get back to the ship. If that makes sense.
Well, all I know is, Kessis, I assume you're wanting, like some of us, to stay back here and repair the ship or do. The thing is, if the shaman has answers about spelljamming and the ship, my knowledge, while extensive in engineering and airships and of mechanical overall, the spelljamming is still something a little bit out of my range, if I should say. And speaking to someone who is knowledgeable on this, I would have specific questions that some of you may not have, and it's best if I am there to speak to him. I'm going. I'm not staying on the ship. That's just not good. No.
Well, I think it's decided. I think that's all of us traveling together to meet this shaman. If I understand that correctly from the rest of your inputs.
Claire, give me an Arcana check.
Ayo.
Oh shit!
Why not?
Good luck.
You blew it on the first roll
Oh,
of the night.
I'm
Just so you know, Claire.
It's gone forever now.
I will never roll a good roll again tonight.
So there's a couple of things that you've learned since you've been spending time, attuned to the spelljamming thing. It seems that it seems that you are kind of connected with the ship while you're not sitting in the chair, in the helm itself. You can't really control the ship or move it in any way, but you can still kind of access it, almost like a part of yourself that's kind of somewhere else. You can kind of feel it and sense it. If something were to happen to it, you would know. You wouldn't know how long it might take to get, back to the ship or everything, because you're not familiar with this area. But you also know that there are definitely aspects of spelljamming that you have not been able to access. Something about it is you can see that it's there, that there are clearly capabilities that can be unlocked, so to speak. But yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Guys, don't worry about the ship. We'll be fine. I'll let you know.
All right.
How can you be sure about that? I mean, anybody could
feel
just come along and steal it.
Kind of like my arms are connected to it. I'm connected. It's hard to explain. The ship is me and I am the ship right now. There you go.
I don't understand, but I guess
Neither
we'll
do
just
I.
carry on. If the ship gets stolen, I'll say I told you so.
It won't. Hopefully.
Alrighty, well, Aka, should you lead the way then?
Absolutely. And she starts climbing up this rock wall, kind of, it looks like. And as you get closer to it, you can see that it's not just rock wall. It is a kind of a stone wall, but the wall has been kind of dug out to create like stone rungs almost. And you really can't see it until you get close to it. It's just kind of making a way up through this this kind of hole in the ceiling of this cavern.
Going up after.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll be following up.
Ing will follow as well.
As you guys kind of climb out here, you get out into the space. It kind of opens up. You climb out through a hole. You see Ika kind of pushes something over and climbs up out, and you can see this open space. There's just this kind of like this open meadow, and she points over to the side, and you can see all the colors of these purples and blues, greens, yellows, oranges, just the foliage here, mostly purple, but a lot of other colors kind of sprinkled, throughout. And she says, now that way, I believe we should be able to kind of hear it, is the river. Now we're gonna follow the river, but we're gonna like walk parallel with the river because, as is the nature of the only water source, a lot of creatures, they like, you know what I'm saying? Like they need to, it's more highlight. It's dangerous that way. But we want to follow it, and kind of like, we're going this way. So I guess follow me. Like this.
Okay.
Can I do like a survival or nature check or something like that to get a sense of our surroundings? Or kind of keep an eye out, use my survivalness.
You absolutely can. So go ahead. Whichever one you would like to roll, and exactly what is it that you're trying to do? Just kind of keep an eye out for danger, try to learn the lay of the land kind of a situation.
Yeah, I think it would be in part, I think we probably roll survival in part, wanting to make sure that we're kind of not stepping on anything that might do us untoward harm, or anything that might be lurking or tracking us.
Sure.
Sick.
That's unfortunate. You guys are kind of traveling, right? Anytime that anybody's ever been outside in kind of a intensely natural kind of place, it's not very much different. It's just there's a lot of purple here. Every once in a while you see what it looks like birds, for the most part, kind of squirrels, all kinds of like small animal wildlife flying about and flitting and scurrying and doing all kinds of different things. Every once in a while you see like what looks like leaves and grass on the ground kind of shift a little bit, and you catch just the tail of maybe some kind of a reptilian creature disappear back under as it kind of slithers or scampers away. It seems like you're in a kind of a natural foresty kind of area. As you're walking, you walk for about 30 minutes. You notice the landscape kind of shifts rather abruptly after traveling a short while through this kind of sweet scented dense thicket of purple forest. You'll find yourself stepping over a fallen log and past like a massive boulder into a pungent kind of muddy marsh kind of area, your footsteps squelching suddenly in the kind of dense mud it's easy to walk on. It's not really hampering your travel much, but the sudden shift of landscape is a bit jarring, I think. With your survival check being a 6, that will be the first failure of this travel skill challenge that I have planned here for you guys. Unfortunately. So, what all would everyone else like to contribute to the trip? You know how it goes. You have look at your skills, use your roleplay brains, and talk to me. I can make some suggestions if anybody needs.
You said it was like a difficult terrain-ish kind of like.
It is not. What's happening is you're noticing it, unlike any other place that you've kind of walked in the wild, the landscape kind of changes drastically. Like you were walking into a forest, and after about 20 minutes, you're suddenly walking through a swamp.
Okay,
it doesn't seem like the elevation changes or anything that would warrant that kind of a drastic shift in the landscape. And then after traveling through the swamp for a little while, you're suddenly walking through like an open meadow. Just fields of grasses and flowers and things, kind of wide open spaces, and then you can see ahead of you what looks like another forest, or it looks like another swamp, and this kind of shift happens over and over again while you guys are traveling.
Well, I would say Claire, being Claire, would keep an ear out for any like sudden noises around her, any branches like being stepped on, making sure the group is safe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Give me a perception check, Claire.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, let her finish her thing then out because who knows, it might.
It's a
change
skill
tonight.
challenge. Nothing happens until everybody's done.
Okay. Ing, although not of the nature persuasion, he doesn't get out much. He reads a lot of books. So he has read books on terrains and topography as well. And one thing he at least remember from being from Citadel, he does not remember these drastic changes in this kind of terrain. How it almost like shifted, just like boom, like suddenly we went from forest to swamp, and just like one step it happened. I guess he would like to do it would be a nature check is what I would go with. Trying to recall stuff he's read about topography and terrains, that if this has existed in other places and what it could possibly mean.
Sure, please. Give me a nature check. Anybody else?
I got. So you said one of the areas was like a swampy area, and then one of the areas was like a wooded area, and it's just kept going. So when we get to like an area that has trees, Ohm would like to climb one of those trees and just get all the way to the top above the canopy and kind of look around to see what's going on, and use his his skills of like going on missions and treasure hunting, tracking and stuff like that. So I don't know.
So you want to climb a tree? You want to use athletics to get up the tree?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm getting?
Yes.
Go ahead and roll it.
Alright.
I will say that you will not roll this one with advantage because it's kind of a unique scenario.
Okay.
But you can go ahead and give me a straight roll. The athletics check. It won't be so
Absolutely.
much about getting up the tree, right? Like that's a thing that you'll
Yes.
be able to accomplish, but it'll be how useful that movement is for you.
Correct.
It does not look like it was very
No.
useful, unfortunately. That is 2 and 2, guys. It's getting hairy out here again. And guess who it falls to? It falls to Zaltic. He has no idea what he wants to do.
Actually,
Oh shit!
after we pass through like a couple changes, we'd be like, this is pretty weird. Maybe it'd be helpful if I can scout ahead a little bit and see if there's maybe any dangers up ahead that we'd be ready for, and I could use my whispers, where I could go up to. I could speak
mile.
up with you all up to a mile away.
You can pick 3 people
Up to 3 people. So
for a certain amount of hours.
it is, yes, it depends on. I'd have to roll a d8 whenever I use it to determine the amount of hours. But I will speak to Claire, Ing, and Kestis. And let me roll just a flat d8 here to see. Is this the d8? Yeah. So it'll last 6 hours.
Big, beautiful stuff. So the
And-
plan is to scout up ahead and keep in contact with everybody just in case you see or hear
Yes.
anything.
And specifically, I just want to use stealth, so anything I may say
Yeah.
wouldn't know I'm there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please give me a stealth
I'll
roll.
be right back.
Beautiful.
While Spencer's rolling that, just to confirm, did we
Wow.
long rest?
No, you had enough time to get a short rest through. You didn't have a long rest period. And I think you all did that last time. I don't remember though.
I think
know
we
I
did,
did,
but
'cause
I
I'm at full
forgot.
health.
Yeah, I think you
so-
did while Ohm and Ica were shooting and throwing boomerangs at rocks.
Oh, that's right. I remember that too. That was fun. I forgot about that.
Good stuff. So good stuff. It looks like here you got you got 3 successes, 2 failures. Looks good. You feel good about it as you're traveling there. Kestis, you're kind of the surroundings to you very foreign, but you do see things that are familiar, right? Like you know the wildlife, the general habits of wildlife. You know if there's a predator around, prey gets real quiet. So the noise that you're hearing, the kind of chirps, the hop skipping and things, makes you feel pretty good about the situation, even though you have no way to keep your bearing. One thing that you are able to do and and helping guide the group in doing is one, you are able to keep your wits about you, and also you're able to kind of keep track of the river. Even though you guys are not traveling next to it, you can kind of keep track of, you can hear when it is roiling and keeping up, and you can kind of see where the break, whenever you're traveling through forest, you can kind of see where the break is between where the river would be and then the other side of the forest on the other side. And you can see where the water, when you're traveling through the more muddier, swampy areas, you can see where the water is more denser and things. So you're kind of able to keep track, but for the most part, that's taking all of the focus from you. Claire, with your perception checks, you are obviously having a much clearer time kind of able to gauge all of the activity around you. You can hear wing beats every once in a while as they kind of come in into the canopy when you're traveling through the forested areas. You can hear not so much squelching, but like the releasing of air when a creature kind of ducks down into the swamp's mud, kind of thing. Nothing seems dangerous at all while you're doing this things. You get into a forested area, you're kind of uncomfortable with all this stuff. You're not sure exactly, like the rate that these landscapes are changing are far too complicated. So you're climbing up to just get a look to see, and you can see a break in the forest where you imagine the river to be, as Kestis and Ica kind of keeping track of where the location of the river is so that you're traveling parallel with it. But you can see, and you look over and you can see like where the landscape ahead of you kind of opens up a bit. This is maybe about 2 hours, 3 hours of traveling. You guys, you kind of get to that point there, and not spending a whole lot of time outside. Just not in nature. Every once in a while, you might go out, get some fresh air or something. But even still, you remember hearing kind of stories from your mother about a land, this kind of like legend, this folk tale kind of thing that as a child you were far more interested in the method acting here. You were far more interested in some of the more arcane aspects to the story, but something about these stories of wildlife and the effect that certain magics can have on wildlife. What you're seeing around here, the terrain you're seeing around here, you remember specifically there was a story about a being that was a kind of a being that was particularly adept at using nature magics, and felt more comfortable and was able to kind of terraform terrains as they saw fit. That was a thing that they could do. This being, ascended to godhood, blah, blah, blah. One of the old pantheon of religious figures that your parents tried to get you an ohm into, but you guys were like, religion is stupid, this is dumb, for different reasons, but falling to the same aspects, falling to the same conclusion. You are able to notice some of the patterns, right, that are similar with how nature kind of works on the planet of Satil, and much to the same findings as Kestis and kind of Claire. If a predator was around, the prey would be hiding. So the smaller creatures that you're seeing scurry about make you feel, fairly comfortable. Comfortable enough as you're traveling. So you're kind of giving yourself the freedom, all of you really giving yourself the freedom to just kind of take in the strange surroundings.
DM question. You said that they transcended to godhood. Is there a specific name to these, or is this something that I can just like throw around a name?
It's whatever you want.
Okay. I didn't know how much of it was part of your world, or if it was.
If it was, I would just change the name.
Well, much easier to ask, so that we don't have to do that.
Sure.
Okay, So yeah, I guess as we're kind of walking through, you see Ink pull out a little journal. Almost it seems different than his other bigger books. This one's much older and smaller and kind of worn. So it doesn't seem like one of his tomes. He's kind of leafing through and he nudges Ohm and he's pointing at the book. Do you remember those stories mother and father would tell us? Again, the religious stuff, you know. Yes. I'm right with you there. I don't believe it. I know most of it. There's usually a rational explanation for most of these things. However, there was those ones that had something to do with nature magic, and they were able to terraform their environment to suit them, and supposedly they got transcended into godhood. Noticing this terrain, how quickly it changed, it feels almost akin to that. So you know, I don't see this happening naturally. This feels like some beings of power must have made this happen. I don't feel any danger, but this may be something to think about.
You always did pay attention to Mother's stories more than I did.
Well, only because she tried to, you know, appoint them as a divine and mystical, and we don't know. And I'm like, oh, sure, I'm not doubting these things happened. I just feel that you know there was be some kind of, you know, explanation, arcane explanation behind it, rather than just poof. Oh, they just did it because they're deities. No.
Well, Mother and Father never will understand us, and that's why we left.
Yeah. Yes, I know. You, as always, you are a spectacular help.
That's why I'm here, brother.
And he does repeat after talking to his brother first. He does repeat this to everyone else as well. Just a little FYI as you were walking.
I think probably hearing some of that, I would say most likely close to one of the changes in scenery. Kestis would probably pop one of his divine senses.
Absolutely. Feel free, please.
Features.
As we're walking, can I have El Cubier fly ahead of us?
Sure. You want him to kind of stick with Zaltic or fly even ahead of him?
I would say fly ahead of him. There's
Sure.
no real
Wanna fly up?
information on how far I can know stuff that he sees. I don't know if there's a distance on that. I
Is
know
that
he
fine
has to be
familiar?
I know he has to be within 120
No.
feet of me to be able to like cast the magic. If I do use him as a bonus action to use my magic spells. But I don't know if there's. It doesn't even specify if I can see what he sees or not. It doesn't say if he can or can't. Either way.
I think. I guess we'll have to look into it
Yeah, I would
and
say that has to be
see.
almost a DM ruling because this is one of those things I think that's kind of vague. They don't specify either way if it's a yes or a no.
It is shared mind, doesn't it?
What? No. What is that? What are you saying?
I wasn't sure if familiars, homunculus, they all have different things. So I wasn't sure if it had shared mind,
Right.
which is like the
Yeah,
mind
because it's
link.
not. It operates similarly to a familiar, but it is not a familiar. So I don't think that it has that kind of an ability where you can like see through its eyes or know what it knows and things like that. I'm just.
Well,
saying
I kind of
technically
figured
it's
it would have to come
Jeez,
back to
isn't
me to let me know something.
Right.
I kind of
Right.
figured that.
It's sending it to you in Morse code.
Yeah, because the only thing on here that gives any kind of distance at all is if you're doing channel magic, which means it has to be within 120 feet of
Yeah.
you to be able to channel your magic. But that's channel magic, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
How high up can it fly?
It can fly as high as it can get.
Sorry.
You know.
Really? Okay,
Because it
hold
can
on.
fly.
Let me roleplay here. Damn it, brother! Why didn't you get your stupid owl robot to fly up and said you made me climb a damn tree?
Because it was fun watching you climb up that tree. Do you realize how big your posterior is? It was quite humorous watching you climb up that tree.
Yeah, but I got up there quickly, didn't I?
Small victories, brother. Small victories.
Good. So I'll say that you can send it and it can come back to you, and you'll be able to kind of get a sense if there's something either dangerous or if there's nothing dangerous up ahead. For
Yeah.
now, but
Yeah, so I'll have
specifically
him
for
fly
this
up
scenario.
high enough. Yeah, I don't know, 60 feet up maybe, to get a little view,
It's up to you.
aerial view ahead
Beautiful.
of us, and range about.
Give me
just
a
ahead of
perception
Zaltek.
check from the owl. And Zaltek, as you are kind of you stay with the group for a little while, you kind of guide them. You're like, guys, this is how you be sneaky. And then after a couple of these like landscape changes, you're like, I'm gonna go up ahead. This is weird. I'm uncomfortable. And you kind of sneak off into the up ahead. Who do you choose to link with to be able to communicate what you find with back to?
So I chose. So I could choose up to 3. So I chose Ing, Kestis, and Claire.
Beautiful. So you kind of dash up ahead, and I assume every couple of minutes you kind of link back and let them know you don't really find anything. You don't run into too much trouble. As you're dashing out, you notice that because you're stealthier, one being one person, much stealthier than a group of people, but also you being adept at stealth. You notice that as you're running out, you're seeing more creatures than you had with the group. So clearly, the wildlife are kind of responding to you all, and some of the larger creatures kind of get in the way. You see some what akin to like an antelope or a gazelle or something, some kind of deer-like creature bouncing around through the wooded areas and even out into one of these open pastures. You can see them kind of grazing on some of the purple grasses and things. You go down through another like forested, kind of dense, thick wood. It's harder to see because of all of the trees and things, but you travel through fairly comfortably, letting them know doesn't seem to be anything dangerous happening. Until you step out, you step out, you can see the trees are thinning a bit, and you can step and you see that the land opens up into this another one of these grassy meadows of purples, yellows, greens, and different kind of colored long grasses, short grasses, and flowers. But there appears to be this just massive mass, for lack of a better word, mass of like what looks like brown and gray, maybe like dirt and stone, or something like that. You start to see it kind of materialize through the forest. It looks like a hill maybe, or a mound of like dirt maybe, except for the fact that it probably only gets like about 10 feet high. And some smaller segments of it almost look like they're moving. What do you do?
So as I'm seeing all this and I'm noticing all these different details that you just said, I'm relaying all that back to all 3 people that I have that I'm communicating back to.
Sure. How much farther ahead of them would you say that you had gotten?
Let's see here. This goes up to a mile. I would say I would have tried to stick around the 3/4 of a mile mark, roughly. To my best of ability, I guess, during check-ins, I would have asked how far back they are so I could get a rough idea on distance, maybe, or something.
So it'd probably take them like 20 minutes to get back to you. You want to be like 20 minutes away from the party?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, so you get there. So you fill them in. Do you do anything else? Do you try to get closer, figure out what it is? Do you back up? What do you do?
Oh, I was gonna talk back to him and be like, "So guys, I see this weird mound up ahead. It looks like some sort of dirt stone. It only reaches, it was say 10 feet tall, ish. You all want me to investigate? You all want me to stand by for you all? What do you all want me to do? I can find out more, or if you want me to wait for you all, I can."
And Castus would just say, "Hold there for a moment. We'll consult." And Ika, this our friend up there's found something resembling a little bit of mound rock and stone. Seem familiar? Anything he's gonna keep an eye out for? Should he approach it?
So, what do you mean? It looks like a mound of rock and stone. Is that
Seems to
anything
be
weird happening to it?
possibly
Where is it? Is it out?
a structure of sorts, a little ways ahead here. Do you know? Have you seen it? Have you seen something like that before? Zaltek, what is this thing doing anything? Is it just what do you seeing there?
What did you say it was around? I described the setting around it. So you said it was like a
It was just like this open kind of pasture.
so like in an open pasture. So yeah. So say it's in this open pasture of sorts, and it just looks like a lot of dirt and stone to me.
Yeah, I guess I'll relay that to Ika.
But it moves. Pieces of
Okay,
it seem
okay.
to move.
Yeah, and I just say
Weird.
it appears some of it's moving. So I don't know, magical dirt and rocks. I don't know anything about this magic stuff.
You want to try and get closer and take a look at it, Zaltek? They're asking you for information.
Yeah, I'll step forward. Just I'm gonna go right up to it, but I'm gonna just try to like creep a little bit closer just to see if I can notice anything else with it.
So you want to creep like to the edge of the forest, kind of get a little closer, but
Yes.
not out into the open
Right.
meadow.
As far out as I feel like I'd be comfortable to have some sort of cover for stealth, but not right out into the open.
Yeah. So right out into the edge of the forest there. Okay. Sure. Give me a perception check. As you're walking out into the edge of the forest, you're kind of seeing as you get a little closer, it's a little easier to see, especially now because you can, it's a little bit easier to see, especially now because like you don't have all of the trees kind of in your way, but the colors are. It's like the more you look at it, the harder it is to discern different sections of it from different sections of it. Is very strange. Feel like it might be some magic going on here.
So I just have a feeling it's magic. Is all I can tell. So yeah,
it looks like a
I don't know
mound of
anything
brown
about
and gray.
this. I don't know anything about this. It's definitely magical, which is not my forte at all.
Yeah, certainly, Icar, this structure, it seems to certainly be moving of sorts, metal shift and rock or not metal, sorry, dirt and shift and rock and such, in the middle of a field.
Ika's kind of listening to you describe what Zaltik is telling you, and she just doesn't seem to. She just doesn't quite. I don't know. She seems like I'm not sure. I mean, it could just be dirt. She says it's moving a little bit. It could be something under the dirt. I guess. I don't know.
Says it certainly seems to be
weird.
of a magical variety.
You should probably wait for us.
All right,
Tell them to back up.
I think I'll get up into a tree and stay there while I wait for you.
Yeah,
Scurry
hold
up
fast
into
there,
a tree.
Zaltek. We'll
Hurry up into a tree.
be there soon.
Just about 20 minutes pass. You guys kind of arrive there. Zaltik, you can kind of hear them coming. Do you wait for them to get right up on you, or do you like go back and stop them? What do you do?
So I was just gonna wait for them. But
Okay.
once they get closer, I would let them know exactly where I was. I'd be like, okay, I'm in a tree just up ahead of you,
Mhm.
and
Cool.
so they know
I
where
like this.
exactly where I'm at.
I'd like to send Alcubier to this structure or statue, or whatever. And
Yeah. So Alcubierre would have seen this right as Zaltik was kind of seeing it and been able to kind of fly over it. Does he fly out over it to try to get a look down on it?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I was gonna have him fly over it to get maybe a better view of what it is.
Does he fly in close to it?
Yeah, I wanted him to fly in close to see if it's a danger to it, because I can always bring him back.
So how close would you say that it gets?
Within 5 feet.
Okay, right up on it. Beautiful stuff. Zalcubia kind of flies up ahead, flies down over, kind of glides over the top of this thing. You can see what looks like sections of it kind of popping up, and then he kind of flies back to you. He made it back to you successfully. Nothing seems to be particularly dangerous about it. You see Ica kind of like ducking below a low tree branch, kneeling next to a tree, taking a look. And go ahead.
I was gonna say, Ohm pulls out his musket. Actually, puts away his sword and his palm pistol, pulls out his musket, and just like sits there for cover, just in case something happens. I'm gonna hold I'll hold an attack with my musket on this thing in case if it does something aggressive.
How far are we
Sure.
from where Zeltic is now in his thing?
Well, Zaltic waited for you guys to almost get right up on him before he talked to you, so probably like 20 feet away. I'll say you all have kind of convened with him and the edge of where the forest opens up into this meadow. So you kind of Ohm found a little spot to hold up with his musket. You have Alcubierre come back to you. Doesn't seem like anything dangerous. Nothing seems to have happened yet. Kestis, with your divine sense, you're not getting anything, celestial fiend or undead. Doesn't seem like there's anything like that happening here in this space. At least not within 60 feet, and at least not, behind total cover.
Yeah, it would have. It only lasts like 10 seconds or something like that. So it would have just been for like one of the changes to scenario anyway. So
Ohm yells out to the
just-
group. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, that's
Is that thing alive? Is it an animal? What the hell is that thing?
So you see Ica kind of crouch down. She puts in shh, and like points to Kestis, says, "Come here." Like tells Kestis to come here.
comes up.
She says, "Take a look. What do you think?" As you look
Great-
out,
great
Kestis,
question.
you see this mass of just, it's like it is maybe 40, 50 feet to either side, taking up all of the space. It's about 40, maybe 50 feet ahead of you, not terribly far away, and sections of it are kind of moving to the side. You don't really recognize what you're seeing, but you do recognize the behavior. All the years that you spend out in the wild, hunting and protecting, and all of the things that you've done up to this point, akin to like herd animals, zebras, large kind of like multicolored creatures that stand in certain ways to make it harder to distinguish one end from another. You notice the way you're able to tell what these are. Is one, the grasses kind of around the herd appear to all have been eaten away, right? You can kind of see that there. You can see as you're looking at them, the more you look at them, the harder it is. It's almost like looking at those optical illusion things.
illusions.
I forgot what they were called. The
Mirage.
magic eye puzzle things. But when you kind of stop trying to discern the differences, you just wait for the movement. You see a head comes up every once in a while, goes back down. You can almost see walking around the perimeter of the herd, certain creatures whose heads are not bowed eating. You can see these brawny, like four-legged creatures.
Cassis to kind of point out and say, I think it's safe to say that this is not one being but many, and I'm not terribly sure how docile they are. Might be
You
maybe
see
wise
these-
for
you
us to
kind
give
of
them
point
a
out
bit of
the
wide berth.
creatures to everybody. You're like, oh, yeah, you can see there. That's where these like these massive, thick manes of fur that are kind of growing out down around their wide set shoulders. And then you notice like what appeared to be the thing that gives you pause, the thing that makes you say, I should give these guys a wide berth. As you can see, these terrifying, like spiraling horns coming out on the side of on each side of their like massive bovine heads. Just these massive, jagged, wicked looking horns that appear to be designed to carve through anything that is in front of them. You just see
Yo, we got some
various
badass banthas.
they poke they poke out at odd angles, you
Yeah.
know. Just
think-
the horns just they appear to be
Yeah,
designed
yeah.
to eviscerate as they run forward to just eviscerate swaths of whatever it is that's in front of them.
I think Kestis would just one of the things you kind of just point to the grass and say, it's quite clear here that these are perhaps not necessarily carnivorous animals, but well, we may want to steer clear of them because whether they may not be here to eat us or not, I think it's pretty. It is safe to say that should we spook them or infringe on their territory, that they're gonna defend it. So perhaps we make our way around this clearing.
Maybe just to be a bit safer, we can travel a bit backwards and make sure there's a bit of forest between us and these, whatever these things are. A little bit
Do
extra
they-
distance, but it could ensure us some safety.
Do they look? Does it seem like any of them have noticed us, or giving
Give me an
any
insight check.
attention? Insight check.
So while you're watching to see if they've noticed you and kind of getting your plans together, you see Ica kind of says, okay, all right, good. I was worried. I thought it was like some kind of weird shambling mound or something. The good news is they're really smart, right? Really, really smart creatures. They don't want problems with us if we don't want problems with them. The bad news is they're, from what I've heard anyway, they're easily spooked. So yes, we want to be real careful. They can pretty much mow down or carve through an entire forest if they stampede.
I think it'd be wise for us to avoid that situation.
And
Agreed.
I'm gonna have it on my insight check.
Agreed.
with your insight check, what you do notice is you can see kind of now that you're more comfortable with the process of these creatures, you're able to see that the largest of these creatures with these bulging muscles that you really can only see because they have these thick scars that have kind of torn away the ability to grow fur on sections of their body. They are kind of walking around the herd as if they are these guards or sentries stationed around the outside. And the reason why you notice this is because their heads, again, do not go down to graze. They appear to be consistently scanning the perimeter, very specifically the skies. They spend a lot of time looking up, except for one of whose intense, full black, kind of glossy eye on the side of its head has locked onto you, Kestis, directly. And you hear like this small kind of this little grunt, and you see a long, thin tail kind of go up into the air, this like tuft of fur on the end of it kind of flicking in your direction. And then you notice another one kind of behind it turn and look toward you. They don't seem to be making any moves. They don't seem hostile or anything, but they have certainly taken notice of you.
Yeah, I think at this moment, Kestis would kind of just put his hands out to the party, and I think it's wise that we make our way, as Zoltik said, behind us,
Kind of back and around.
around, yeah, and kind of just start backing up a little bit, but I have eyes locked on to the beast that's made eye contact with me.
Question.
Just to stare down.
Quick question. I'm still up in the tree. Would they have looked up and noticed me up there?
They don't seem to have noticed you.
Okay.
They kind of see
All of us.
somebody you're traveling with. So,
Yeah. Okay.
so the plan is to kind of back away and circumvent. Everybody good with this plan?
Oh yeah, Ing is this is not his element. He is following Kessis.
Defer.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ohm's gonna be the last one to backtrack, and he's gonna put away his musket and pull out his sword and his palm pistol again, and just be the covering just in case something happens.
Yeah, Ing hasn't
pull out
even
your sword.
doffed his,
Yeah.
hasn't even donned his armor because he doesn't want to.
Yeah, Kestis is just gonna come.
I pull it
Don't
out
said anything.
slowly, though, very slowly.
Give me a sleight of hand check. So while that's happening, you're backing away, and you're feeling, you kind of cast this. You're keeping an eye on it. You can hear Ohm's sword come, kind of leaving its scabbard just barely, and you're keeping an eye on it. It doesn't seem like it's the moment you all start backing away. You noticed a couple of the other sentries that are on this side of the herd seem to, just like not just lose interest in you, and then continue scanning the skies and things. But the one who locked onto you appeared to be watching you, shake his head a little bit, but doesn't. You still see the tail kind of long and curled, almost cat-like, the tuft at the end kind of flicking in your direction, but nothing seems to be happening at the moment. So you guys back up, a little bit of feet and start going around. You'll see I could kind of say, here's the thing. That's definitely the way we have to go, pointing directly through where the herd is. And if we go around, it's going to take a little longer. But, as long as we can get kind of around this herd here, we should be fine. Right? Seems like a good idea to me.
I have a question for, like, a DM question here. Would perchance the animal that I just witnessed be one that I might be able to cast with Fine Steed?
Fine Steed, does it have rules that determine what it is? No, Fine Steed has certain things that it can do, right?
A Fine Steed essentially it's more pertinent to the bond that I would have with the animal. It's not a specific animal. It's more of it's DM discretion, which is why I'm asking. Most of the suggestions it gives for a CR rating are up to a war horse, which is 1/2. As far as suggested, if it's not allowed, it's certainly not allowed. But I have to ask.
Yeah, it literally says in parentheses, your GM might allow other animals to be summoned as steeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything.
Yes.
So, what I will say is, we can figure that out later.
Sure.
Unless you want to do it now. My instinct is to say yes, but then I'll just kind of lower the stats of it down to around about where a warhorse is, and instead of having the
It's
warhorse is
warhorse
I think
elk
it
kind.
stomps or something. Like, what does the warhorse do? It stomps. Instead of having that, it'll have the gore that this creature has. It'll just be about as strong as the warhorse's stomp.
Yeah, a warhorse has
yes, right? Why not? A trample. That's
I
what
think
it's called.
Kessis
Yeah.
just
So
wants
that.
the
So
visual of riding an orc.
yeah. So yes. But not the full power version.
Part of it would be the kinship to the creature to hey, there's some familiar bond. We're cool here. Don't come at me. That's the idea behind it.
Sure.
Don't at me, bro.
That was a very unsteady shore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So yes, I will say yes. It just won't have all of the because this is CR2, so it won't have that. But yeah, why not?
Cool.
With that, you guys kind of back up and you start making your way around. Claire, something that you notice, as you guys are kind of backing away on the far end, as you start to circle around, you can kind of get a better look of the rest of this field, this opening. On the far end of the field, you can see kind of far away from where these creatures are herded together at, almost as if the creatures wanted to stay close enough to the forest line, rather than traveling out to the middle of this open pasture. On the opposite side, on the far end, you can see almost as if a section of the pasture is just painted black, like a cloud passing overhead, but much denser and seems to be isolated. And it just kind of shrouds a section of the meadow in darkness, and then lights back up again, as if this gigantic shadow just kind of sweeps across the land.
Seeing that, Claire would kind of look to Ica like, is the shadow thing normal around here?
Ica says, huh? What are you talking about?
There was a big black mass over in the meadow and it's gone now.
What do you mean, like as if something was flying over it?
I don't know.
Oh, shit. And you see kind of concern rack her face. She says, fuck, where are we now? Hey, you, kind of points to Kestis. Where's the animals at? You kind of just point to where they are. He says,
Yeah.
and you, where'd you see the shadow at?
Over
Pointing to Claire.
the field. Not the trees,
You
like
kind
the
of
open
like
space.
point in the direction of where the shadow is?
Yep.
Just, oh, shit. So, we should probably start moving now. And it's at that moment that you hear this bleeding cry. Just this like, bah! This like animalistic kind of honk. And then you hear a bunch of others just kind of join in, and you hear this thunderous rumbling as the ground around you starts to shake. And Claire, you look out, you see this massive shadow sweep across the herd. And Kestis, you can see it now too, just shrouds the herd in darkness, and you can hear them screaming and just start thunderously stampeding directly in your direction. You have you have one opportunity to do something to avoid this stampede, each of you. But you can hear just boom, 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 and then you start hearing the trees just being torn through. You can see sections of forest just flying into the air as they are barreling toward you of 40, 50 feet. The whole like herd is just kind of barreling directly in your direction as you see what appears to be this massive set of talons snatch one up and go flying up into the air. You don't quite see the creature. It looks like a scaly kind of chicken foot situation. Grabs one of these massive beasts and just flies away with it. The rest of the beasts barreling towards you, mowing down the forest as it is approaching you. Who wants to do what and when?
How are we lined up? I want to ask that. Like, are we lined up?
What are you going to do?
like
What are you
this?
going to do? What are you going to do?
I want to throw people into the trees.
Beautiful
wanna
stuff.
do.
Beautiful. I love it. Who are you throwing?
Well, my brother. That's why I want to know who's who's right there.
Whoever you want to throw
be? Okay.
is next to you.
My brother. I don't know. My brother's
You
big.
realize how big we
Yeah.
are, right?
We are, yeah.
You
yeah.
might want
So-
to throw one of the
so maybe,
smaller
yeah.
people.
Let me throw. Well, I should be able to throw Claire and Zeltek.
I was
each
gonna say,
with a
I never
hand.
said I left the tree.
Oh,
And
I
I can get the tree
I
myself.
never said anything. So as far as we're concerned, I'm
Uh,
still in that tree.
No, everybody kind of, it was everybody's plan to like back
no.
away and go
You said
around.
no.
If you refuse
Oh,
to do
yeah.
that, that's fine. But
I was
you
gonna
had an
ask if I
opportunity to
could've
say,
jumped.
no, I'm staying
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Go
You're
ahead.
saying we haven't made much in terms of linear progress around. Like we wouldn't have made that much.
No. You've
we
made a
have.
certain amount of progress around. You have, and then that's
Saying everybody's
kind
on the
of
ground is what he's saying.
what happened. Yeah, I'm saying is Zaltek's like, no, I stayed in the tree. That wasn't really that wasn't really the situation. If you want that to be the case, roll a stealth check.
Well, I was gonna ask
and-
if I could have, whenever people were going back, if I could have moved from tree to tree back, if the force was dense, like traveling in the trees. Would that have been
So
possible
staying
back
in the
then?
trees but following the group. Yeah, you
Yes.
could. Yeah, sure, you could do that.
Would you have liked me to roll a check for that, in case if I would have, like, I don't know, fallen or something?
So you're in the trees, you're walking with the group, you have one opportunity to do something to avoid being stampeded on. You are noticing that all of the trees that are in the way of this herd are not in the way anymore. As they reach each tree, it stops existing. I don't know if that influences your decision at any point, but that's up to you. But you have one opportunity to do something.
Okay. So,
Claire,
So
what did
you
say?
want to throw Claire.
Well, I don't know. Claire said something, but Zeltek was like, "Wait, I'm in the tree still."
So I want to
Okay.
know, like, how wide across is the stampeding herd? Like, would I be
40
able
to
to?
50
It's-
feet. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
Okay,
like 40,
so I'd
50
be able
feet
to
is huge.
run and then Starlight step into a tree out on the side. That would be something I could do.
Yeah, he did emphasize that these things obliterate everything in their path.
Yeah.
Outside of the tree. Past
So
the
being
stampede.
on a tree, if they go through the trees,
Side.
going with wherever those trees
Yeah,
are.
Going
but
to
it's
the
good.
side
I
the other
can
way.
probably
The
throw
front one kills the tree, then you fall into all the middle ones that then kill you.
I'm trying to go not like I'm trying to
But-
go forward.
But you want to
and
run. You're trying to run to the side. Just get
Yeah.
out of their
and then
trajectory,
pop up.
and then Starlight step. So good. I will say that you can do that, and this will give you
Okay.
advantage on your dexterity save that you're gonna have to make. Om, what are you doing?
Well, okay. Claire's taken care of.
Yeah, you see
Um,
Claire kind of run and poof, disappear.
and I see the kind of the area. Well, let her do her. I see the area where she's going. Let's see if she. Is it a roll or something she has to do?
You are deciding to do something in this.
No,
moment.
I know that, but I want to see like if she
That happens
makes it to
later.
We're
those
doing this all at the
areas-
same time, right?
That's not. That's
Yeah.
not up to you. It's
Okay,
all happening.
okay.
Yeah, it's all happening.
Well,
at the
then
same
I'm
time.
gonna throw. I'll throw Ica towards
Okay.
where Claire is. 'Cause everybody else
okay.
seems to be doing their own thing. So yeah, I'll help the
So
NPC.
so by throwing Ica, you're giving
the-
her advantage on her dex save.
yes.
Okay. Athletics check, please.
You got it. With advantage, right?
Yes. Yeah, your regular gift bullshit.
Appreciate it.
Two
Nat
20.
2 nat
What the
20?
Two
fuck?
nat 20s! What
Here
the
you go.
hell?
Here you go. Yeah, 2 nat 20s, right? So with that, you dash forward. You kind of just scoop up Ica in one arm and continue dashing forward. Who knows what'll happen next? With 2 nat 20s, fuck it, you'll have advantage on your dex save as well. Kestis, what are you doing?
Kestis is gonna run over in the same direction as Claire,
Right.
and then once he gets to his 30 feet, probably not entirely clear of the herd, I would imagine, but he's gonna turn and plant and hold an action. So he's kind of like if the herd is
What action are you holding?
if the herd is like this wide, he wants to be like about like this far out, like maybe in the last like 10-15% of it, and kind of be aiming towards it. His intent is to hold an expulsion of breath weapon to use dragon fear.
So you will just do the dragon fear. That's what you will do. You're not
Yeah,
really
but
going to hold
he
it.
has to do it within like once they get within 30 feet. That's why I'm saying that.
Sure. Beautiful. So yeah.
The idea
you
the
can do
idea is
that.
he would like
You
run
know
to the
that-
edge and then like direct them that way, kind of away, stampede.
So
slightly off.
so dragon fear is going to require a saving throw from them.
Yes.
And it's everybody within 30 feet of Kestis.
It's let me read the specifics of it. That's a very good question. Where'd it go? Oh, right here. Each creature of your choice that can hear within or see you within 30 feet. So if I'm pointing, that would be, yeah,
And the DC.
14 wisdom.
Okay. You kind of dash out to one side and you just roar this massive roar to try and intimidate these creatures.
Yes.
You see them stampeding toward you, and you release
Oh, you're
this
using it? I
just
thought you were
pulse.
holding it.
It doesn't have time to hold it. You have one opportunity to do a thing. Holding something that's almost two opportunities doesn't work here. But it's happening, and it works the way you hope, as far as you know.
Cool. You'd be standing there, shields ready, you know.
Good stuff. Who's left? Zaltik? What are you doing? Oh, Ing. Zaltik, what are you doing? And then Ing.
Well, I'm still sticking with my original idea of, being up in the trees.
You're in the tree.
Right. Like, I'm sticking
in
to
the
that
tree.
since that's my original idea, even though I didn't
But
specify
that's
that.
where you
That's what I
started.
meant
But
to
you
do.
still have. You're in the tree. That's where you started. But you still have an opportunity to do a thing.
Right,
To
right.
avoid being stampeded.
So, in my mind, I feel like it is going to be quicker to see if I could just try to, see if I can jump to, see how far I can get across to, like, another tree, I guess, if I can, out of the way. Like,
You
instead of
wanna
running,
jump
trying to tree
through the
hop as much
trees.
as I can. Yeah.
Okay, acrobatics check, please. Do you have a climb speed? I don't believe so. Good. With the 13. Okay, good stuff. So with that, you all see this herd of beasts barreling towards you, just mowing down the trees and vegetation. You can see for a split second where the herd has entered deep enough into the forest to have left behind some forest. There is no longer forest there. For a split second before you all engage in all the different activities you're going to engage in, you think maybe these fucking meadows are created by these creatures. I don't know. I have to get the fuck out of the way. Ing, what do you do?
So how far is Kestis? I can run towards Kestis and Claire, right? Where they're.
You can run toward Kestis, yeah. You can
Yeah.
run in that
So
direction,
he,
sure.
he sees Kestis getting his breath weapon, just try to move them, and he figures it's best to put everything in the same area, so that way we can hopefully get as these moving around us and not by. So he turns around immediately and starts running towards them. As he's running, you see he slams his fist together and his armor starts to come around as he's running towards Kestis and Claire. And he's going to slide up next to him, and he's going to cast Thunder Wave towards the herd, which is a 15-foot cube, to try to hopefully, because it pushes them, if they fail it's their Constitution throw, to push them away from them as they're running away.
Okay. Absolutely. See what happens. And what is the DC?
DC Here. Constitution saving throw. It doesn't say.
What is your spellcaster modifier? What's your
Oh yeah, spells DC 15. Yeah,
15? Okay, that's unfortunate. So on both the wisdom saving throw and the constitution saving throw, they rolled 15. Meets it, beats it.
You don't do meet it,
No, meets it, beats it. Meets it, beats it.
Oh, yeah.
With the so you can go ahead and roll your damage. And place the template if you want to. But you know that they will not be pushed away. So you will not have advantage on your dex save. Kestis, you also will not have advantage on your dex save. Ohm, fucking make the dex saves, folks. Ohm with 2 natural 20s, you will get advantage, and also Ica gets advantage, as well. Zaltik.
Kubier. Does he? Am I allowed to use him to do the help action to give me advantage?
So, no, because it's not an ability check. He can't really give you advantage on a saving throw by helping you.
Yeah, it's ability checks, right?
Zaltik, you do not get advantage. I need a straight dex save from you. Claire, you do get advantage. A dex save with advantage. So Ing, Zaltik, and Kestis, straight rolls. And Claire and advantage. Okay. So as they are just barreling through this space here, beautiful stuff. As they are just barreling through this space here, Claire, even with advantage, not quite enough. You're going to take 21 points of slashing damage. As you just see these horns come tearing through you just as you're about to hit that face step. You misjudge the time also little, and they just slam into you, gouging into your sides, throwing you aside, and then you feel the face step kind of almost instinctually, and you pop up away, not able to get out of the way of this attack, of this stampede. Kestis, 21 halved is going to be, we'll call it 10 points of slashing damage. As you are there, you make the roar. They seem wholly nonplussed by that, as if the fear that is already driving them forward supersedes the fear that you could instill. But you're able to get your shield up just in time to have it take the bulk of the damage, still barreling through you and kind of casting you to the side. Zaltik, as you're dashing through the trees, here you feel the firmness of these thick branches that you're very comfortable up to this point. It just leaves from beneath your feet. You find yourself pedaling in the air for a moment as a tree that you were standing on just disappears. And all of the trees in a line that you thought you were going to get to, you fall down into this herd, and they just barrel into you and over you. That's going to be 21 points of slashing damage. And you find yourself kind of rolling out to the side, badly beaten. Just dashing forward, snatching up Ica. You're just able to get out of the way. They kind of, you leap, as you can see, they're about to smash into you. They kind of clip you. You spin in the air a bit, 10 points of slashing damage, and you kind of slide along the forest floor there, and you can hear just this rumbling as they are all barreling past you. I don't know, who did I miss? Is that everybody?
Ing.
Ing. Oh, yes, Ing. What were you doing? Thunder waving? Standing there next to Kestis. Ing. Big stuff. You see Kestis kind of throw his shield up as it looks like his fear is not working. Your thunder wave, you can see some of them kind of get hit, and they almost like kind of get knocked away a tad bit. Then the rest of the herd just kind of pushes and forces them forward, and they fall back into lockstep, barreling through you as well. Right after Kess is able to get his shield up, knocked out the way, and you kind of follow him dashing forward, and they just kind of clipping the tail end of you. Another 10 points of slashing damage as you see this herd disappearing into the distance there, almost faster than they were initially coming at you guys. And you just see this gouge of what was forest now be kind of trampled and eviscerated into what looks like fallen logs and just flat terrain by these massive, terrifying creatures. Ika kind of still being held in Ohm's arms, just like, I appreciate it, man, but can you put me down?
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Thanks. As you can see, she is also a little bit hurt.
Everybody okay?
Looks like everybody's alive.
Ow.
I'm gone.
Kestis would walk up to Claire and to Zaltic and give 10 points each of lay on hands.
Thank you. Ow.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm okay, but I'm definitely not feeling good. But thank you. Very much appreciated, Kestis.
Might be wise for you to stay on ground level with us from here on forth, I think.
Perhaps so. Perhaps I got a little bit too cocky there, thinking I'd be safe in the trees against whatever that was.
Break an ankle falling from those trees, aside from being trampled from these beasts.
Very lucky indeed.
Your legs look very spindly, I must say. They're not very thick.
Guess I'm just built different to where I can catch myself better.
I guess it's a good thing you got some additional appendages to fall back on in case you need them. So,
would Ing notice then, obviously, that there's a clear path, maybe, perhaps now that these things have been running through?
The direction that they're going in isn't really the direction that you're going in, but there's definitely a clear path going that way. Well, kind of perpendicular. As you guys were traveling around, they were spooked into like kind of running directly at where you were, and not really where you're going.
Well, there seems to be an opening at least. And these things are no longer in our way, so I suppose that is a good thing. As he nurses a little limp from getting clipped.
You see Ika kind of say, yeah, and hopefully whatever spooked them is well fed, so they don't really come back.
You know this area. You're the one warning us of creatures. What was this shadow thing that just came out of nowhere?
Is a couple of things that it could have been. It could have been a rock. It's just like a massive flying
Could have
bird
been a rock
kind of thing.
A giant
it
shadow.
Could have been a rock. It could have been. It could have been. It could have been a griffin, right? Like there's a lot of.
I'm starting to doubt your knowledge on this area.
I mean, like I'm a pirate, all right? I don't do this wilderness shit, okay? Jeez.
Speaking from experience, there are a great many flying, terrible, fearsome beasts that be wise to keep our distance from as well. And I think it might be of our best interest to keep some cover from the overhead as we continue on this journey.
Oh, come on, Kestis. You, me, and that little boomerang girl over there, we can take him out of the sky.
I certainly appreciate your confidence, Home, but so I think it'd probably be wise to, be smart about our travels in an unknown land.
Whatever you say, cowboy.
Beautiful stuff. Whatever 30 guys want to take a break real quick, 10 minutes, come back and finish this off.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Sure.
Beautiful
Sounds
stuff.
good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Intermission time.
All right. So back from narrowly surviving a stampede, you're back to traveling through. You got the rest of this forest to go. You can see it kind of opens up. It descends a little bit into like a swampy kind of landscape. You're traveling through again. You're kind of seeing some things. You're hearing, some animal movements and things like that. At one point, you see off to the right of where you are, this thick, almost like tree trunk, tree log sized mass of mud starts to like shift, and then it almost looks like it's vibrating a bit, and then it just kind of deflates after a certain amount of time. Just kind of deflates from one end to the other as if something was moving underneath it, and kind of stopped being there. Looked like it was going away from you.
So,
Just kinda, dust them off and keep ourselves away from these beasts. I think that's what we decided, eh?
That's the plan. Beautiful stuff.
I certainly don't care for nature, and nature certainly does not care for me.
It's dark. So you're traveling through this kind of like muddy area, and you feel your feet kind of squelching in and out of the thick mud, and you can hear things kind of like what sounds like branches kind of breaking, falling into the mud. You don't see anything around you aside from the odd, small mammals, more reptilian kind of creatures. You could see one looks like a like yellow scaled kind of lizard, but then has like feathers going down its back and things. Maybe 2-3 feet long. Not too terribly dangerous. Appears to scurry and scamper away from you all, running across the surface of the mud. As you are passing through, it opens up into another forest. It looks like here, the purples and greens and yellows and oranges filling the surroundings, all of the vegetation. As you're traveling through, Claire, do me a favor, give me a perception check. And what are you all doing as you're traveling through? You kind of doing some talking. Anybody got questions? I'll take about
on tonight?
all those.
What is with me?
Jesus. Good thing I'm getting them out of the way now.
That was sort of stampedes. That was vindication.
Absolutely.
Claire identifies
Absolutely.
each tree by name.
Yeah.
They are close personal friends.
So
They all have
The
names.
trees talk to Claire
Yeah.
as Ents would to hobbits.
Almost. As you're kind of looking around, Claire, you're getting a good bead on the surroundings. You're starting to even become more familiar. You're noticing the different species of like purple kind of tree. Some of them growing fruit, some of them buds on them. Some of them seem to be more popular to live in, certain animals, for whatever reason that might be. With a natural 20 perception check, you are an astral elf. You don't spend a whole lot of time like in the Feywild, even though the origins of elves typically is the Feywild, but you know how it is. You spend a few generations in some other place. You elves just kind of conform and fit. Something about traveling through this space is reminding you of a home that you've never known, right? Kind of like an origin of your people before your people were your people. It's very welcoming. It's very comforting. You notice almost imperceptibly, as you're traveling through these woods, you see what appears to be like shimmering that passes from behind some leaves, and the leaves appear to be shaking. The reason why this stands out to you is these leaves, this branch appears to be shaking differently than all of the other leaves and branches that are around you. Like the wind is kind of blowing through. Every once in a while, you hear the soft thunder of the storm that you know that kind of roils underneath the continents of this moon. The floating continents of this moon, you know, the kind of middle layer between the storm that is the core and the Ionosi, where you are, or the Ionos Islands, where you are now. So every once in a while, you hear that like soft thunder. But these branch and these leaves that are kind of shaking differently to the way the wind seems to be blowing them. You look up, you notice, you almost, you swear you saw something kind of small, you know, maybe 8, maybe a foot long, jumping from one branch to another. You look up, kind of staring at it more carefully, kind of trying to use your peripheral vision to catch any movement that you can, and you see the glint of something that seems silvery and colorful, dashing behind a clump of purple leaves. Something that might be scaly, maybe feathery. What the fuck? I got a spider on my microphone.
Fuck that shit.
So you see this, Claire, and you respond how?
Hey, Aika. You know these little silvery guys that hang out in the trees? Look kind of cute.
See, I have to dispatch a spider, and you immediately talk to my NPC. You got all these PCs around you.
I'm sorry.
All these PCs around you.
She's the one who's from
Alright.
here.
Sure. And she says, "Huh? What? You saw something?" She's like looking around. What'd you see? Where is it? What are you talking about?
She's
That's not
not
the
going to
breakfast.
know. Again, she obviously knows nothing about these creatures that live on this planet, even though she claims she did.
Silvery little guy. Jumping around.
Like,
Feathery, scaly, I don't know. Silver.
wait, feathery and scaly?
I don't know.
Little, about how big? Do you like try to point them out?
Try to point them out and also do like a hand size estimate, like this big.
A couple hands? Just put a couple hands up.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful stuff. She says, "Oh, I guess it could be a baby, I guess.
A
But
baby.
if there's babies, then there's probably a mom around somewhere." Oh shit.
Oh, nice.
And she says, the big thing that snatched up who saw it? Who saw the big thing that snatched up the Auroch earlier? One of you had to have seen it. She's kind of talking to the group.
Caught a little bit of it, but
Describe what you
really
saw. Tell me exactly what you saw. Scaly, kind of like talon-like feet.
I saw a leg akin to most of the more nefarious chickens I've come across in my time, but large enough to pick up one of those beasts without even a second thought. Probably the 3 or 4 toed foot, a significant amount larger than, you know, one of those things that was taking down trees.
She says, and then she points to Claire and says, "And you see up in the tree." And as she's like asking you, Claire, you see another one. Kind of look a little head pokes out. It looks like, and you see just these colors. There's these glorious colors of this like little creature that kind of crawls out onto the branch, kind of revealing itself to you. Just, oh fuck! Yep, that's okay. Good news. Really, really smart. Really, really nice. Really friendly. Bad news, baby. And if he's right, the mom's probably bringing food back here for them. I don't know if we should probably back away or.
Then
You
why
see
are
the
we
little
standing here
creature kind
talking?
of
Let's get
bounce,
moving. Let's get away from this area. This is obviously dangerous.
bounce out onto the branch, and like you see the wings kind of open up, and you see these colorful feathers. Kind of, poof, this tiny little creature comes fluttering down over you, Claire, and kind of like is flying around your head and flies down under your arms and around your waist, and kind of almost. Looks as though it's going to perch on your shoulder, but then seems to decide better and just kind of hovers in front of you.
Kestis is gonna like look directly and very sternly at Aika and just say, "I have one question for you. Are we leaving quick or are we leaving quiet?"
Yeah, we don't want to. She kind of appears to be frozen.
Quick or quiet, folks? What are we doing?
Yes,
Ing
Claire.
starts speed
What are
walking.
you doing?
Oh, wait.
Claire, against better judgment, is kind of going to start baby talking it in Sylvan, talking about how cute it is. Against better judgment.
In Sylvan.
Yes.
Beautiful. So, as you start speaking in Sylvan, you see the face of this creature. Just this immediate sense of recognition, like identification and like familiarity. And the creature doesn't necessarily speak back. But the cooing and the gurgles and the kind of high-pitched purring very much increases, and it kind of jumps onto your shoulder and like nuzzles against your face and things. You can feel the like soft, you can feel it's like a layer of like these soft feathers, but then underneath there appears to be like a more rougher scale work that's happening. And then you see a couple more of them starts to crawl out from the different trees and things in the area.
Claire, quick or quiet? We
humming.
must be
This
leaving
is not
now.
good. This is not good. This mother is not going to be happy.
They seem to understand me.
I also understand Sylvan.
And they're not speaking, but it was, you can hear her baby talking them and them responding in kind.
Claire, while these babies may be nice, the mother may not be so nice.
Okay.
Brother, make sure you stay back.
Claire will then
He's
start-
already walking. He's already kind of
Sylvan.
starting to speed walk away
He's
from
gone.
y'all.
Well, then how are you talking to Claire?
I said he's over his shoulder.
So which one?
Now I said you should probably.
Kestis is also
Claire-
going to start making a direction that way.
Claire will say goodbye to them and Sylvan. Little babies. And walk away following everyone.
You see the eyes get real big and full, and you see them kind of like puppy dog at you. They're flying after
want
you, kind of.
demonstration? Claire, I really don't think these things are very good. I think we really should be making our way out.
We're already past that longer. We're past that longer. We are
You
past
see the
that.
creatures, and they're kind of like following at you, and then one of them kind of flies down toward you, like toward your hand, and then kind of like flies away and looks at you, and flies down again, and then flies away and looks at you. Another one comes down and kind of nips at your finger and then flies away. I don't know. What do you want to do, Claire? You walking away, saying bye and walking away? As
Yeah,
they're
she's
kind of
gonna
like,
keep saying, goodbye, I'm sorry. Enjoy your food.
give me an animal handling check
She's
or
gonna go
persuasion, whichever one you'd rather.
Persuasion.
Animal handling, definitely.
It's up to you.
Oh,
With a 12, you're going to see the creatures. They look a little forlorn. They kind of get your meaning, though. You have other things to do, fine. And then they kind of fly up into the trees. And one of them, the first one who came, hesitates. And the other two kind of perch up in the trees. And they appear to start like wrestling with each other up on the branches. And then it's weird because they don't dance like, they don't play like animals. They kind of play like humanoids. You see one of them grab the other one around the waist and like throw him over his head backward and slam him onto his head behind him. And a weird German suplex kind of thing. And then you hear them kind of laughing.
Germans
like
exist
playing
in
and
Forgotten Realms.
right, exactly, in a Zemnian suplex.
There you go.
Kestis would kind of like be ferrying people behind, away, and kind of again backing kind of away from them as they're walking. But is there any of those fruit trees like very near us?
Yeah, you got some what looks like berries growing on some trees just close to you, sure.
Kestis is just gonna swipe a bunch of the berries as he's walking away and kind of place them on a rock in front as he's backing out, probably kind of keeping himself between the creatures in the group. And in Draconic, he would just put his hand over his chest and say, "Friends," as he's walking back.
As you say, friends in Draconic, you guys hear Kestis very rarely, if ever, speaking Draconic in front of you. These kind of low grumbles and growls, but they feel kind of pleasant, right? And you see the creatures all
Very
whip
Sam
their heads
Jones.
towards you. Yeah.
It's sarsaparilla.
They all kind of whip their heads at you, all in unison as you announce this, and they kind of cock their head and look a little confused. And you see the one who was jumping around Claire, kind of like, you see the two are in the head, the other one kind of like floating around Claire, slowly making space as she's like starting to slowly also walk away, but not wanting to clearly. They all whip their heads and turn at you, and then you see the one who's close to Claire kind of flies down, lands on the rock, gives a sniff at the berries. Kind of knocks them off of the rock, and then like stands there, perches up on the hind legs, and just kind of looks at you.
As he's kind of still walking back and kind of keeping a distance, he'll reach into his pack and pull on a thing of rations, open it up, and then kind of fling it out.
What are these rations?
I mean, he's a hunter, so I would imagine that there's some form of like jerky-esque, dried meats, nuts, that type of thing.
Sure. So you throw some things out at there and you watch it almost like too fast. You see like bird head. It kind of like looks at each one of the things, eyes, clocks the nuts, clocks whatever, some dried bread or something. There's some hardtack, clocks the jerky, and then dashes out, snatches it up in the air, flies out, and just starts munching on the jerky. You see the other two flying over immediately, and then they start like wrestling over the jerky. And you see one of them kind of kick one in the gut and then put him in a stunner. And he kind of falls backwards and rolls backwards and like flips and falls off of the branch, and then like catches himself flying and flutters back up. And they just appear to be playing this weird thing with each other. And then you hear this massive sound of something impacting the ground far away, and you hear this like screeching, growling howl happen. That sounds very reptilian to you. Doesn't sound like a language, but it sounds very reptilian. And then you see all three of them kind of get stiff and then dart off in the direction of where the sound was coming from.
As soon as they break us a line of sight with us, I'm gonna kind of just turn and go and push everyone
Beautiful
forward.
stuff.
Pull Claire to the side. I understand that they can look cute, but in my experience, the mother's a whole lot more ugly and quite a lot more dangerous, and especially protective of their foes. They tend to be quite stone cold in that respect.
Oh my gosh! Did you? No.
Claire will respond back to
That
that.
was bad.
I
Terrible.
know.
That was great.
You're forgiven,
That was
though.
amazing.
That was so bad.
Claire will respond back with, I know, but they also kind of remind me of, I don't know, nostalgia for someplace I've never been.
Might be worth having those feelings from afar.
Hmm.
We don't want another one of us having to be revived.
Word.
Speaking from experience. Now, let's get out of here. Get up places to be.
As you're kind of traveling forward, you spend a few minutes. You hear behind you just what sounds like this tearing into meats and gashing. Just sounds like this ripping and tearing happening, and these cries of joy and things. As they get quieter and quieter behind you, and you hear more like a slamming and thumping of something massive off in the distance, like kind of moving things around, maybe, I don't know, walking, who knows what's happening. And you hear these kind of guttural purr sounds fading into the distance as you're walking away. These like deep guttural purr sounds, like they're coming from a massive creature.
Trying to get distance between us and the large imposing beast.
You guys are running away. Beautiful stuff, right?
Right.
Because like, all right, so
Ing left a while
river's
ago,
that way.
so
yeah, you guys are catching up
Right.
to Ing.
Just follow.
So you reach this place, and you see there a bunch of different colors: the blues, purples, greens, yellows. These trees, various fruits and things hanging off of them. And you can see like a little break in the trees, and up ahead you can see what looks like a it looks like a small stone wall, right? Like not, like maybe 2 foot high maximum, a stone wall. You can see what looks like some bits of it are broken, and it appears to curve. The section of that you can see, it looks like maybe there's a circle of stone up ahead of you.
What landmarks are we keeping our eyes open for here, Aka?
Usually there's a well. I mean, kind of climb down in the well, and that's where Terrestia makes her. That's where she's hanging out at. She has a little like magic garden place under the well.
So now we're
Under
climbing
a
down
well.
the well, is what you're telling us.
What's the matter, brother?
What?
Scared of a little water?
No.
shifts after all.
No. It's not about scaring about water. First of all, if it was just a well, there'd be nothing at the bottom that's water. Apparently, this well leads to this expansive underground area where this person is habitating, which also can cause a problem getting out of there if there's a problem. Listen, I've been a little traumatized. Okay, it's been. I almost got stampeded by some gigantic creatures, and then there's obviously a gigantic flying creature that was flying overhead that scared them, that almost killed us, and y'all were playing with its babies. So I'm just a little I'm a little nervous right now. I'm just a little nervous right now.
Wise to keep your wits about you, sir.
Oh, my wits are here. That is why I walked. The wits are here.
Also,
Matter of fact, they're kind of hyper focused wits, if you will.
how big's this well? Are my brother and I gonna fit down this thing?
It's a question I was actually wondering myself, yes.
Ika kind of looks at you both, and I guess we'll see. You guys are pretty big. Probably squeeze.
I'm
Like
getting
healthy
flashbacks
though.
of
Like,
of
you
like
look very
those
strong.
Horror
Right.
stories of people getting stuck in chimneys and shit, and then finding their bodies like 30 years later because they're stuck in those
It's like going to be a bad Christmas movie.
Well, we'll know you're there, so we probably won't have to worry about you being found 30 years later. Right?
Oh, that was meta. That wasn't eight.
That was the meta. That's why the Christmas comment happened.
With that, and with Ika's like continued indecisive disposition, Kestis is probably going to take the head of this trail and kind of get a bit of a sense, probably probably still stay about 30, 40 feet away from that circle of stones.
Give me a
I wanna
perception check.
Get a sense. What's going on there? Perception. Absolutely lovely 11 for you there.
So you get in front of the group there. You're like, how this girl doesn't know what she's doing, and she's like, well, yeah, sure. And you step out in front and you look out and you see it's like a wall, some grass in the wall, like a little stone wall. Some of it's broken and stuff. You see like beyond it, you get a little better of a look. You see beyond it, it appears like another stone wall. So it looks like there's maybe two circular stone walls. You don't see any holes or anything, but then you do see what looks like a well-kept circular structure of stone that could very well be the lip of a well.
Kestis is gonna look back at Ica and say, "Forgive me, and I do mean this with all due respect, truly. But the rest of us are all quite acquainted with each other, and we hold ourselves in high regard between all of us. You still are kind of needing to prove yourself to us, and you haven't really shown yourself all that competent of a guide, or really as a source of information here. So." I think we're kind of in the need to be making some decisions. Again, with all due respect. Does that look like what we're looking for over there?
You did a lot of talking, and I don't know exactly what it is that you're saying to me. Do you need something from me? What is it that you want? You want to?
Again, I'll ask you the question. Is that the well we're looking for over there?
Oh, she kind of like puts her hands up on your shoulders, kind of like looks around you and says, "Yeah, that's probably it. Let's go." She starts marching forward, and then you see her just kind of freeze. She's like, "Oh shit!" And then she like starts backing up. She's wait, what? Go to check out what she's looking at, or ask her a question, or what's up?
What are you finding over there, Aka? Is it safe for us to come around?
This looks like some kind of weird fucking reptile. Has a bunch of heads. She's not really moving though.
What?
Looks angry.
I speak into her mind. Where exactly is it?
Kind of points, looking around.
Divine sense. Did I get anything?
You can go ahead and pop a divine sense. You don't get any celestial undeads or fiends.
Kestis is going to take one step over the wall, shield out and kind of on, and hand on the hilt of his sword. Doesn't have it drawn, but it's kind of hand there.
You look out, you see what appears to be a massive reptilian creature that's almost like shrouded by a low branch of these trees. You can see what looks like moss maybe growing up it. It has you see like 4 of these heads that are hanging out there, and they all coming off of these like long undulating necks. But again, it's not really moving in any way that a living creature should. You don't see any breath. You don't see any kind of like adjustments or anything. You just see this multi-headed creature.
I remember some stories about something called Tiamat. It seems very, very familiar.
In Draconic, Kestis would say, "My friends and I come in peace, and we mean no harm in this place."
I'm getting no response.
He's going to take a step forward.
Hey, step forward. You don't see anything moving or anything like that. You just see, the way you're looking at it, you can see the well in front of you, this kind of stone well. And you can see it looks like there's like an inscription on the well. And you see this massive, like, it almost looks like tree bark, kind of like the creature's skin is like tree bark and it's not moving. It's probably just a statue. 4 heads of this massive hydra-looking creature that appear to all be staring at the opening of this well.
Kestis is going to take a couple steps to the right and see if the heads follow.
So I'm gonna go up to the wall and I'm gonna be peeking over as and
It's
just...
like a 2-foot wall. You can't really.
Okay, so it already...
stand
Okay.
behind it. It's like a
Gotcha.
short, very small
Okay,
stone
so yeah, so
wall
I'd have just
that's
been...
mostly broken, and then another one on the inside.
Okay. Yeah, so I would have just been over there and I'd be more I don't know, sort of following along with Kestis, but still trying to be like a little bit, keeping a little bit distance between us, but still being near him.
I look at Alcubier and I'm like, Alcubier, go take a look for us. I'd like to let him fly out and kind of circle around over it.
Comes back, sees the same thing you see, doesn't seem to move, doesn't seem to react to anything. You can see Alcubier getting a little closer. Looks like it has some green gems in its eyes.
Well, it's
Okay,
not
you've
moving
been
when
here?
they went out there.
Okay, you've been here before? Say, have you
Yeah,
seen
no,
this
I've
thing
been
before?
here to see. I've been here to see Terrestrian a bunch of times. This is new. I've never seen this kind of thing before, but I think it's like a statue. I don't know.
Kestis is
And
going to
then she
kind of
like
wave.
walks over to the well. She looks over the well. She's like, can't see anything down here. Usually it's just you can see like the green coming up from it, and then she like rubs the inscription. She's like, I can't fucking read this either. It looks like there's been some changes made since I've been here last.
Kestis will come up to the rim of the well and would try and see what the inscription, see if we could read it.
Sure. Yeah. What languages do you speak?
Celestial, Common, Draconic, and Sylvan.
Nope. No, not this one.
Claire, Ing, got any thoughts on writing on the wall here?
He takes a look, puts his goggle lenses come down, and they're kind of cheep, but he's looking at him, and he tries to look at it. Ing speaks Halfling, Loxodon, Rios.
You said halfling, Loxodon?
Yeah, Common, Gnomish, Halfling, and Loxodon.
Nope, doesn't look like any language that you recognize.
I don't recognize any of this, no.
Claire, any thoughts here?
It might be Elvish. Let me take a look.
It's definitely Elvish.
All right.
As you're looking at it, you can see it says, "Here lies the path you've made. Climb down under the Hydra's 14 eye gaze."
Well, that's cryptic. It's insinuating for us to go down. However, I also think that might not be the right thing to do.
Does it say anything else other than go down?
It says, "Here lies the path you made." Which that sounds
Climb down.
And
Go ahead.
was there anything else, Claire?
fine down beneath 14 eyes.
The 14 eye,
Yes,
the
I think I
Hydra's
heard you
14
mumbling.
eye gaze.
Hydra's 14 eye gaze. When Kubier
Yeah.
told him, and he looks up, and he's like, "Well, there are 4 heads, and they do seem to have gemstones in their eyes, and they are looking down at the well. So 3 more heads need to be looking down. I assume. I guess could do an investigation of this statue.
Yeah, you want to give me an investigation check? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Does this draconic figure look familiar to me in any way from what I would say would be pretty extensive studies of dragon and dragonkind?
What kind of check would you like to use to determine this?
Probably history would, I think, be
Sure.
most suitable.
Yeah, give me a history check.
What Ing is looking for is if, because he notices that it has the eyes and 4 of them are looking, and based on what Claire says, he's looking to see if there's anything with these other 3 heads or anything that the statue has manipulated that can have the gazes all looking down.
Wow,
Another one.
another nat
Beautiful stuff.
20. But it
So
wasn't
with a
20.
14,
So I got a negative
with a
history.
with a 14 investigation, you walk up there, you see, first of all, it's a statue. It is not alive. It's weird. It appears to have been grown. Like you're looking at it and it looks like it's grown like a tree. But the detail of it, I mean, if you weren't this close, you would swear this was a living creature that was made of wood and wanted to probably eat you all, as this mouths, the four heads on it, and the like scowling eyes and the open mouths with these long fangs that appear to also be made of wood, but you swear they look like teeth, they look like bone. Uh, but what you do notice is, one, it only has four heads, so 8 eyes, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much with a 14. I think that's pretty much what you gather. Let me just see if there's anything else I can give you. Yeah, no. It's clearly a statue that was grown like a tree, that has emeralds or some kind of green precious gem in its eyes, 4 eyes. And that is what you have. With a natural 20, Kestis, you know that this creature is a Hydra. Hydras, not really dragons, but you know, the often confused for one of the many monstrosities that people think are dragons or related to dragon, at least dragon kin of some kind. You know a significant amount of things about Hydras with a natural 20. You know that, you know, if you're fighting a Hydra, you want to use fire to like prevent the heads from growing back, because they are going to do that if you kill one of the heads, chop it off or something to replace it, kind of thing. This having been the history with you is you've never come up against a Hydra or anything like that before, but you have done studies just in case.
Yeah, I think that it would be fair to say that Kestis would probably know a lot about a Hydra just in general from his studyings, but yeah, probably has never actually encountered one. It's Elvish, and it's always in riddles. Never fails. Ing, I think you are onto something though, because Claire, if I remember your recounting of this phrase, you said 14-eyed gaze, correct?
Yes.
Well,
Cut off a head.
there's one
2 more grow.
There's one thing I know about Hydras. It's that they're notoriously hard to kill, because every time you get rid of one of their heads, 2 more replace it. So, well, Ing, you seem to be the best of us at math, so was that 2 heads we need to get off of this thing?
Doesn't require much, but yes, that would be appropriate.
All right, well, before we do anything on that note, which one of us has the wherewithal to create fire or produce fire here in this situation?
I can produce a little flame.
Is it flame enough that's going to sear off the end of one of those heads in the event we need to? Because that's might be the only way for us to stop it if need be.
Possibly.
It's wood. Does anyone have a saw?
I've got a sword.
Do your guns cause
I don't
fire?
know if putting it if casting it on fire would. I mean, what if the whole thing burns down?
Yeah, I'd rather. Yeah, I could use my longsword and try and.
None of the things that we found in this place do what we anticipate they will. So, I'm simply stating that as a, perhaps we get ready in the event that something needs to happen here.
Or it's more obvious than we think.
It's quite possible, but we've been unprepared before.
Well, what other suggestions do we have besides burning it or chopping at it? Anybody?
I can punch it.
Oh, brother.
I don't really have much here to bring to the table. I'm just the guy that sneaks away your head when needs be, and stabs somebody in the back.
Yeah, you are a very efficient cutter of things.
Can Kestis take a lap of the situation and just see if there's any other statues or anything like that around?
When you say lap, how far away do you want to get?
Like within. You said this is like a clearing.
Kind of. It's more like a little section of forest that kind of opened up. It's really just enough room for the well, the tiny broken stone wall outside of it, and then the second one that kind of surrounds it, and then the Hydra, this massive, probably 20-foot statue that is kind of shrouded in the forest that that is kind of on the perimeter of this little area. Maybe it's 20-25 feet of open space.
Kestis is just gonna point up at the statues, heads, and just say, "We may be wise to see if we're not missing any of those gems in this area, because it perhaps means that we need to find 14 of those to find passages through here." That's my thought.
What
Unless
happens
Ika, if you'd like to do us a favor and see if you might be able to just pop down that well and, blaze a trail for us. See what happens.
Ika says, yeah, sure. I mean, I'll go down there, but normally I can kind of see the green that's coming out of it. It's kind of dark, but yeah, I'll go down there. We'll see what happens.
I think cutting off two of these heads would do it for us. It's
Brother,
weird.
what
It can't be that difficult.
what kind of wood is it? Do you know? Could you tell, brother, by looking at it?
Nature check.
Investigation,
Sure.
nature.
I mean, during my investigation, did I notice it to be any abnormal kind of wood, or was it just wood?
The abnormality is that it appears to have grown in the shape of a hydra. I think that would be the abnormality that you notice. As far as the specific kind of wood, you can make a nature check if you want to try and find out what kind of wood it is.
Yeah, I guess a nature check, see if it's that hard to cut or break or whatever.
Yeah.
We do see like 7 or 8
Oh shit!
emerald colored gems in the eye sockets, though. In all the eye sockets.
You see the 4 heads. Each of their eyes is a emerald, like an emerald gem.
And they are 2-eyed on each head. Just clarifying.
The riddle does state
Yes.
the Hydra's or the creature's gaze, 14-eyed gaze. Right now there are 8 eyes gazing upon the well. If we cut off 2 of the heads, that will double, and we will get 14 eyes gazing at the well. Assuming it grows 2 more heads, but I have a sneaky suspicion it will.
Brother, do you think my sword will easily chop off one of these heads?
I don't know. Let me take a look at this wood.
Yeah, go ahead with that.
So, Ing with a 12 nature check, yeah, you don't spend a lot of time outside. You don't spend a lot of time studying trees and stuff. Closest you can get is it's probably some kind of like weird, fey oak. Maybe it's pretty solid.
If we had
Doesn't appear to- Has a low
superlatives,
sap content.
if we had superlatives that described our party, I think that Ings would be least likely to touch grass.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
but he is also, for Ohm,
knocks on
the
it.
only one.
He looks at Ohm. He's like,
He's the only.
It's
He's like
wood.
the brains of the two. So Ohm would
Definitely.
It's wood. All right. Well, one
By
way to
comparison.
find out. All right, I'm gonna try and chop
Well,
one.
you said
I'm gonna try and
okay.
I'm just going for it.
So you run up and you slice off one of the heads. Give me an attack
Yeah.
roll.
Oh, I didn't target it. Oh,
You just see it doesn't. You don't have to. You don't have to target it. With an 8, you run up, you swing on it. You feel the sword kind of slam into one of the heads. There, kind of digs down into it. Gets about halfway through. The kind of thin neck of this creature doesn't quite get all the way through. Doesn't quite cut off. And you'll notice that as you slam into it, it kind of glows a little bit with this green light, and you'll see the emerald eyes kind of glow a little bit. But nothing
Can I
seems to
punch
happen.
it to try to
You could
knock it the
probably,
rest of the way off?
absolutely.
I like it.
Since he cut halfway into it.
I can't move my token, but
Oh my god.
I guess just gonna take a step back.
So Kestis steps back. You see Ing kind of walk up, say, brother, swings. You see the punch looks a little off, somehow still able to connect, kind of cracks it off. You can see where the nice clean cut separates from where this just jagged kind of snap happens. The glowing happens. You see as the head is falling down through the air, kind of lands on the ground. You see the gems in the eyes kind of disappear. You just see these hollow holes where the head is, and then you start to see growing out of the neck these 2 other Hydra heads. They start as look little small snake heads, kind of turn into snapping turtle-shaped heads, and then they take their full Hydra head form, and you'll see the emeralds in them glowing a little bit. And you have 2
Ing is
extra
kind
heads.
of jumping up and down, pointing.
Now there appears to be a total of 5 heads.
So
Anyone else like
And
to get shot? Anyone have any anger issues? I've heard of these rooms where you can just like break things, but this seems like a perfect opportunity. Does anyone want to like take a shot at one of these heads?
I've never tried cutting off a head that big, but I could certainly try. I do have a couple short swords where I could try to do as I would with the normal head, but this is quite bigger than what I'm used to dealing with.
This may be a job
talk
for
more
us,
swinging.
Jiff.
Good sir. Giff.
Jiff.
Well, how about this? You get 1 head, and I'll get the. Well, how
We
many
only need
heads?
to get one more.
heads?
We only have
You need
to
Only one more?
Just one more. Just one more. Just one more.
Sure.
There are 5
No,
heads.
we need 2 more.
No, if you.
There's
It's 5 heads,
only
if you knock
5
off
heads.
one- Oh yeah, 2 more. Right.
Yeah, we need to do 2
So
more.
you all work on 1, and I'll do the other.
Go. Not do
Kestis
the
will, yeah, Kestis will walk up and choppity chop
I mean, not. Yeah.
on the other side.
Sure.
We really need to walk.
Make your attack rolls. You'll see
Wait,
Ica
so are we
kind of
working
like
on-
crawling over the well, starts climbing down into it, and says, so are you guys gonna do that, or should I keep going, or should I wait to see what happens
Wait.
with
Wait.
your?
Wait.
Yeah.
Yes,
All
wait.
right.
Oh my
So,
What is
so,
wrong with
Kestis, with the longsword, you swipe out, you get it 12, cut through one of the heads cleanly. It kind of falls. Poof, poof, poof. Again, you see the gems disappear, and 2 heads start to grow in its place. That is a total of 6 heads.
Mm-hmm.
And Zaltik, you take your short swords, right? You're using your short sword?
Yes.
And you kind of like stab into it in the way how short swords are typically meant to be used. You get in, it slides through, kind of gets stuck a little bit. You're able to pull it out. You get about halfway off. You need a little more to get
Alright.
the rest of it.
Ing's gonna swing again at this. At the one that's out there. Alright, fine. Just punch
Sure.
this. He's gonna take a. See him. He kind of pulls back with this one. Kind of winds up. See, it's kind of sparking as he
As
God,
he
I hope
does
you
this-
roll like a 1.
As he does this, I'm gonna just step back.
Okay.
And
Yeah, there you go.
as he punches into it,
There
you
you
just
go.
hear crackoom.
Krakoon.
Thunder.
Crash. Lightning kind of exploding off, searing the break a little bit. But After the head falls to the ground, the emeralds, gems, and the eyes disappear, and you see 2 more heads grow in its place. You see them kind of curl around each other, but they all end fixed directly at the well. You see this glowing happening around this beast, and then you see what looks like a cone of light kind of emitting from where this beast is over the well. And then you see this green light glowing out from the well, and you see Ike say, "Oh, there it is," and it just hops in the well, whoop, and drops down.
Why don't you smaller creatures go in before my brother and I?
Do you really want us landing on them in case we? I mean, may be better if we go first.
All right, after you, brother.
That's fine. You said she climbs in. Is there like a ladder or a rope or something to climb down?
She like jumps in.
That's what I'm saying.
You see,
Like,
earlier she was climbing, but then she climbed out, and then the second time she just kind of like water slides, just jumps down into it.
Well, I can look down. Can I see? Does it go straight down or does it curve? Can I see?
It appears to go straight down. If you're looking down, you can see this green light coming, like kind of coming out of it. You can see a ways down. Maybe there's like some grass or something down there, but it's it's just a well hole. You're looking down into it. There's not a ladder, but there do appear to be these like stones that are kind of like jutted out at alternating sides to like give you handholds and footholds to climb down.
All right. Well, Ing steps like, well, let's go. No time like the present.
Boom! It's just Winnie the Pooh. Ing just gets stuck in the well. No, I'm joking. You climb down.
Damn it!
My legs
wanted
just
it to happen.
top
I
like
wanted
this.
it to happen. I wanted him to dive in head first, feet hanging
He's not.
up.
You guys.
know.
You guys are not that much bigger than everybody else.
I
You
know.
You're just
I
not,
know,
guys.
I know.
You're all still medium creatures. Okay.
I just know about their weight, but
You're a little
it's dense.
thick.
Yeah,
Not,
it's
it's,
the weight,
it's not
not
size.
the
It's
girth.
dense.
Not the
Right.
height.
Triple
Right.
C thick.
Well, I don't know. It's just I think it's more dense. Like obviously we're probably a little bit wider than your average human, but I think the
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
under 800
yeah.
pounds is
Yes,
dense
and that's
rather than.
But you're not 5 feet wide.
no.
Right.
Well, yes, but a well is not
Right.
always.
We have very dense
wide.
muscles. That's why we weigh. That's why we weigh
Good
so much.
We're big
So,
boned.
you guys, everybody's climbing in.
Yep,
Yep.
I go in.
Before
Yeah.
Kestis jumps down, he would have tried to take a chunk of like the bark from the tree. If it was like there's like some on the ground that would have like splintered off.
From
Probably.
the Hydra. Okay, you take some of the bark from the Hydra. You have some of it. It does, as you separate it, you do see that it kind of does still shimmer, but it doesn't have that same glow as the tree did when it was like activated. But it does still have like a little bit of a shimmer to it, especially different angles of the light. You can see a little green shimmer coming off of it.
Tucks it away, jumps in the well.
Yeah, you all jump down into the well. Climbing down, you can hear Ika just drop, you'll be fine. Come on, it'll be fun. Trust me. Does anyone just drop? No? Good. You're gonna have to drop at some point, so don't worry about it. And you kind of hear her laugh, like dissipate as she clearly is walking away from beneath the well.
Kestis is gonna jump in.
We're all.
Claire will follow them at that point.
Yeah, we've all.
I'll let you go down.
So everybody went in, climbed down. Ing, you kind of reach the bottom here. You notice that your feet stop touching things. You look down, you can see it opens up. And at this point, you're kind of like just hanging by handholds. You're very strong. You could stay here for a while if you wanted to. But you can kind of see the ground beneath you, maybe 20 foot, 25 foot drop, maybe.
He drops. Akubi
Just
is
let
kinda
goes.
Slowly circling above him as he goes down. Yes, let's go.
It was crazy. At first, you let go and you plummet as you normally would. Then suddenly you are slowed, and Alcubierre kind of like it's like the trajectory of him spinning around you goes past you a bit and then kind of slows down to meet back up with you because you suddenly started going slower, and then you both are just kind of like floating down onto the ground.
I
feet
had a
to
spell
ground.
like this not that long ago called Featherfall. This seems very oddly similar.
And you hear a voice that you don't recognize say, that's where I got the idea. Everybody else kind of just drops down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Similar thing happens to everybody various times, different rates. Those of you who are heavier, you drop a little faster at first and then kind of start to float a little later. And those of you who are lighter, you kind of start floating almost immediately. This weightlessness feeling, and then you kind of come down onto the ground and you feel your feet hit. You're looking around you. You don't see the purples and the yellows that you are used to seeing throughout the Sky Islands, but you do see a lot of green, and you can see what looks like these almost reptilian, like cat-like creatures with these long necks kind of just hanging out in the trees over their kind of curled arms in the front. They lift their heads up, nonplussed like cats are wont to do, and see you, and then kind of just go back to like relaxing, just don't really care what it is that's happening around. And you can see this other individual who is like sitting on this stoop, maybe in front of this massive tree that kind of, you can see like a window in the top of it, this door kind of in front of it, sitting on a stoop, like legs open, one knee up, arm resting on it, the other one kind of like splayed out forward and kind of leaning forward and holding what looks like a jug in their hand that they kind of throw over their shoulder and sip out of like this. Ika, why have you brought these strangers to my hideaway? It's a way.
She's Orin from Final Fantasy X. The fucking judge.
And you see, I can say, okay, they need your help. They need you. That's, they spell jamming something or other. Oh, she kind of like puts the jug down, hits the ground a little too hard. You see this dust come off of it, and she stands up, and you can see her body is just incredibly well built. And she's wearing these, what looks like maybe leather and bark kind of pelts and things. These pauldrons have feathers and furs kind of coming off of them. And she says, spelljamming, you say? Interesting. Come closer.
This is the one. Ing shuffles up, and he's like pulling out his little book. It's just his lenses, and he's like, "Well, yeah, Spelljam. We have many questions. We have a Spelljamming ship that's way back. We still haven't named it. I thought we named. Did we name it? We didn't finish naming it, really, did we? But anyway, Claire is the one that's been kind of piloting it. She sits in a chair and all this other. And he starts railing off all these different questions about the life chair and how it works and all these things. And he's just like overwhelming her with a million questions about Spelljam.
You can see this kind of pale greenish complexion with these deep purple eyes. As she's watching you, she kind of lights up a little bit as she's watching you, and your excitement. And she's, oh, a student, I see. Good. Keep that spark about you, young man. It will prove very useful too. And then you kind of point back and say, Claire's the one, and she kind of like leans over you and Claire, as you see this elf, this appears to be like a half elf. The features of this elf are strikingly similar to someone that you know. And she kind of leans over and says, "Are you a stars druid? I believe they called you Claire.
Yes, true.
Are you one of my brothers?" And she kind of like leans back and crosses her arms. You see her kind of tapping her foot.
Kind of questioning it with a little.
She says, "You stink of him."
Yes? I think.
Oh, I figured. It's fascinating the way the universe works. No matter how far away I go, they will always find me. I love my siblings, I do, I swear, but he's just so... And you see her kind of like put her hands in this like yoga pose position. She kind of raises her legs up and her body doesn't fall. As her legs kind of up, you see behind her this what looks like a kind of a trunk of a tree, or like a thin kind of tree, grow up behind her and support her weight. She gets into the lotus position and she just says, "Om." He's just
That's my brother.
so
You know my
above
brother?
it all. So what? I'm sorry. What? No. Om. The
Om. That's
centering
my brother's
sound.
name is Om.
Really? This one?
Yes. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Do you find it kind of like walks up to Om and you can smell as she approaches you this like this like mossy kind of earthen scent, but it's sweet as well. It's very comforting, relaxing. And she says, do you find that your chakras are aligned within you? You have this general state of zen because you are named
not him.
Om?
What the hell are you talking about, lady? Chakra, brother. What the hell is this woman talking about?
I have no idea. A clarification: when you were talking to Claire and you mentioned about the brothers, did she say, "Are you one of my brothers? Or are you from my brothers?"
Like,
Are you
of my
one of
brothers?
my brothers? Apostrophe S.
Oh,
Like-
okay,
Like
gotcha. Okay, that's right.
followers, students, etc.
Or just
Owner.
relative, daughter, something.
Who knows?
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Ing did
He's so
notice this.
possessive.
He heard that. He raises an eyebrow. He doesn't say anything though, but he did catch that.
I think it's safe to say that a number of us here would gladly accept any tutelage you might offer on a number of our journeys.
So, am I to understand that it is your ship that is parked in my garage?
Yes.
If I
Good.
could do, yes,
Did not know it was your garage. Ika brought us there.
You see her kind of reach down to like what looks like a glowing kind of tulip, and she kind of like plucks a petal off of it, and she eats it. And then you feel the ground beneath you just like just start rumbling, and kind of like you feel like something is maybe burrowing beneath you or something like that. Good. Well then,
Was that our ship?
the rumbling stops. Yes, I've moved it here, closer, so that we may
Well,
access it. So,
if I may be so bold as
She's
to
like,
ask,
just go ahead.
who are you?
Oh, I am. Ika, have you not told them who I am? Ika says, I mean, I've said your name a bunch of times, but they're kind of like mean to me because I didn't know the patterns, the behaviors of every single animal that lives on your island, even though they change on like a fucking weekly basis. But, you know, whatever. I mean, they don't know
We were
anything
almost
about this
trampled by
place.
very
so.
large creatures that destroyed trees.
We are new.
Did you
here.
hurt my aurochs? You see her kind of, you feel her presence get a little bigger. You can see what looks like the plants behind her kind of start to grow a little bit.
No. In fact, we did not. We
No.
tried to make our way around it quite quietly, but some other creatures startled them, and they almost trampled us.
They hurt us.
Don't stand in their way. It's the best advice that I can give you.
We weren't. Whatever
And if it
spirit
was
made
a
them come
predatory
our way.
creature, then that is the cycle of life, and there is no means for us to interfere in it.
As I presumed as well. What Ika did not share with us here, and forgive our ignorance, we are new here. We don't come from this planet. We've only been here a day or so, and we are eager to learn more of why we might be here and how we need to accomplish what brings us here.
My question would be then to you, why are you all here? This moon has gotten so many visitors over the last couple of weeks. I am getting concerned. First it were the Leonin. I didn't like that because they came to meet with Gaussian. And then, of course, there were
didn't she just
all
say
The
the...
Leonin.
I'm
We
s-
despise
I'm sorry,
the Leonin.
They weren't Capulets, were they?
Capulets. I don't know that sound you're making, but
Uh,
they were very kind of self-assured, pompous,
Capulets,
even
yes.
very
Sounds
high
like
and
that's
mighty.
Capulet
Capulet.
to me,
That is
brother. That's a
definitely the
Capulet.
Capulets. That- yeah,
That's a
that-
Capulet.
They wore these
Where'd they
incredibly
go?
gaudy
Where are they?
robes that looked like
Let
they
me
were
at 'em.
made from the
Let
finest
me at 'em.
silkworms.
Let me
and
at
things.
'em.
Well, I
I
mean, I
think,
don't know
uh,
where they are.
Rest assured, Miss Tricia, we do not like them either. They are our enemies. We do not like.
I mean, I don't dislike them. To dislike a species of being would be
Oh no. This is
incredibly
persecution.
bigoted.
Just that family.
It's not because we don't like them.
Oh,
because
well
of
then,
things.
blood feuds are. I live for them, really.
To answer your question, we do, as my party here did just share with you, have a mutual disdain for what they may be doing here. We have some. Well, let's just say we ended up in this situation because they crossed us quite severely, and we're here to hopefully right some wrongs in this sector.
Can you be specific, please? I don't like the vagueness that you're speaking with. What is it exactly that has brought you here to Fair Artis?
Well,
The,
I don't know, we seem to be a little confused because we could tell her about what the Capulets did and the laboratory and the stuff going on there, but that's not why we're really here, though, is it?
Kestis is just going to look at Terestia and just say, we're here to hopefully help relieve you of your zealot problem on this place.
I don't personally really have a zealot problem. I guess it could become an issue, but I will vastly outlive them anyway. So whatever it is that they're engaging in, so long as it doesn't bother me and mine, then I will most likely be fine. Although there is a particularly angry dragon mother, because
That
one of
is-
her eggs seem to have been stolen.
And we have reason to believe it is by the zealots that we're mentioning. That's what brings us here. In
That
honor
does
of
make
transparency.
sense, but I mean, in order for them to steal a bronze dragon egg, they would have to be an incredibly impressive bit of piracy. I just don't. See, the Leonin came and met with Gaussian. I know that, and I can't tell you how I know it because the plants talk to me. It doesn't really make any sense to you anyway.
He
But
attacked us. Or
I don't
he did
know.
that, at least.
I'm sure, yes, with you flying in here on a
I
spelljammer
know
as
what
loudly
I
as
did.
you all did, I would imagine that. I'm
Yeah, this
sorry.
one- yes.
And you see Ica kind of shrinking away, and she looks at you. I can listen. Okay, listen. And then her face suddenly gets very sad. Ica does, and she says, "All right, look. We were attacked. They have Vise. They have Fina. They have Drachma. They took. I most likely Vise is dead. He was bleeding out when they took him. Fina and Drachma, they took his prisoners, knocked them unconscious. But I'm hoping that they're still alive. I tried to." And she explains the whole undercover plot thing to get up, work her way up, and then get revenge if need be, or save her friends if she can. And Terrestrian kind of stands there, and she sits down, picks up her heavy jug, throws it over her shoulder, sips. But when did this happen? They only just stolen the dragon egg. I wouldn't imagine that they. Where were you when this was? You see, Ica kind of says, "Okay, so I kind of have a confession. I guess it was us. We stole the dragon egg, and Terrestrian says, of course." There's no way a zealot pirate would be able to get anywhere near the bronze dragon mother, but of course, you, a child of the Ionos. And she says, we needed the money, right? Things are really bad. Pandora has not provided any resources to the Sky Islands. All of us, they double crossed us and just took the egg, didn't pay us, and then took Vise and Fina and Drachma prisoner. I barely got away with my life. Luckily, they didn't see me, so they didn't know what I looked like, so I was able to sneak into the pirates.
You could have told us this
I knew she was hiding something.
Well, it's not a
Well-
bad thing, brother. At least we know where the egg is at.
We
It
weren't
does
all
seem
that
she was doing
forthcoming,
it
so
for a good reason. Stealing the egg. Either way,
Stealing
we've
the
been
egg
in
was
hard times,
not-
brother. She obviously
I
was doing it for
understand.
malicious reasons.
Yeah, that's true. She still lied to us.
They didn't. I didn't know what they were going to use it for. They said they just wanted to harvest some of the energy, and then we would be able to return it. I guess I knew it was too good to be true. But like, a Galcian was never this bad before. And Terrestrian kind of says, "No, it is true. The moments that the Capulets arrived, as you call them, Capulets, Galcian has gotten more and more zealous."
The Capulet.
The leader of the Zealots is zealous. Imagine that.
Yes. Yes.
Hard to blame for everything. Brother.
So it seems that we
Capulets
do
seem
have a
to be in the
mutual.
middle of a lot of things. This seems to tie into what got us all started together as well. He's just writing notes down now. It's just,
Yeah.
But still, how did you all learn of this situation, and why are you here exactly? Are you here to retrieve the dragon egg?
Look, lady, we've got a big gun, and we need it on our ship.
Oh, okay. I think I understand now. So I thought that maybe I would be able to help you all ensure that it doesn't interfere with the spell jamming if the cannon is of an arcane nature, yes?
Sure, what you said.
Well, that would be fairly simple. A simple ritual can help you all better attune to the ship itself. Are you all a crew? Are you all the spell jamming crew of this vessel?
yes, we are doing this. Like I said, Claire here it would be the pilot. There is this pesky issue of another chair on the ship that might be causing a problem. The life jamming chair, something like that. That I would maybe not like to have on the ship if that's possible as well.
She leans forward and says, "There's a life jammer on your spell jammer."
Yes, again, we acquired this ship by chance. We did not build it or put it on there. Matter of fact,
Did you
Most of
acquire
us
it from
remember
the
spell jammer
past? What do you mean by chance? There hasn't been a life jammer in this wild space system for at least 3,000 years.
well, it's
So
a
to
long
give you-
story.
To
He
give
tells
you the
whole
short
thing
version.
from Sid's hole to here.
He just starts telling the whole story.
To give you the short version of this story, Miss Terrestrian,
She's listening to Ing and you at the same time.
the,
You don't
when
say.
the Capulets
They can.
betrayed us and we had to escape with our lives, we took a ship of theirs. This life jammer ship comes from them.
Capulets.
To answer your earlier question, we are here on an order of the Towns of Justice.
The talents have sent you into an incredibly dangerous situation so that they can maintain their anonymity and ensure that their political relationships are not influenced in any way. Is that the case here?
I, while not a paladin of the Talons, am a paladin of a similar order, and we have shared interest
I
in making
understand.
sure that the
So
wrongdoings.
this
of
is you
these
making your
realms are taken
bones,
care of.
so to speak? This is you kind of proving your value.
Something along those lines.
Well, I will say that an angry bronze dragon mother, especially one as old and ancient as this one, will be bad for everyone that exists on this moon. Except, of course, for me, I'll just leave and take my island with me, but I kind of like it here.
Well, our intent is to keep the peace.
And learn.
If
Do you offer an apprenticeship, Miss Terrestrian? Is there any way I could learn from you involving?
are you done telling? You're done filling everybody, filling them in on the whole story? Because
Oh, at this point, yeah. I'm assuming. I would guess at this point
3
when
hours
Kestis was being
later.
this,
Right.
informative about his specific thing, Ing kind of like stopped at that point.
kind of like
because-
stopped a little bit.
yeah.
Let him finish, and then what happened was, oh, really? That's fascinating. No, what was this monster? Pink. Sounds disgusting. I believe it was a mind witness you ran into. Those should only be on the far realm. What are they doing Here. You
Yeah,
raise a
that's
great
so
many
useful.
questions for me today. I have to look into these. It's fucking work. She kind of like slumps down, drinks more of this. The closer you guys get, the stronger you can smell this jar that she's drinking out of. Smells very pungent, and she kind of throws it
Holmes
back in
says,
there.
You got any more
puts
of
it
that
down.
stuff?
Yeah, I would say this sounds like
This will
something
probably
would
kill
like.
you.
Try me.
Absolutely. And she kind of like she reaches her arm out and you see what looks like a kind of like a pitcher plant, kind of that carnivorous like pitcher plant thing, like lean over to her. She kind of plucks it off. And be sure not to hurt this in any way. She pours the jug into it. She kind of shakes it a little bit. As you can see, she's pouring into it. It's like this viscous green liquid. She shakes it up a little bit and then opens it up. You can see it kind of glows like a lighter green. She says, yeah, that should water it down a bit for you. Here, and she hands you the like pitcher plant.
Brother, are you sure about this?
You know I love to try different drinks wherever we travel. All right, what do you want me to roll to see what happens?
Are you gonna drink it?
I am. Absolutely.
The chaos.
You see Ing's finger in his bag. He starts pulling out a potion. Just in case.
Just in case, an antidote, just in case.
So,
Constitution saving.
yes, I need a Constitution saving throw from you, please.
Whew.
Almost.
Beautiful stuff. Here's the thing. The DC is 22, unfortunately.
Damn it.
Here's the best part of it.
Okay.
You kind of want to fail.
Okay, cool.
You can feel yourself. You're drinking it, and first of all, it tastes fucking delicious, man. Like blueberry Kool-Aid. It tastes like ice blue lemonade. It is the tastiest, sweetest thing that you've ever had in your life, and then it immediately just burns back up your stomach. Like you can feel this intense burning. You can feel your innards, like you can feel your innards like convulsing, like you all see Ohms like gagging, trying his hardest to hold it down, right? He just and you see this streak, this look like this blue fire come exploding out of his mouth, and she says, "Oh, that's a new one." And she kind of takes the pitcher plant from your hand, and she says, I knew you were up to something." And she kind of puts the plant back. You can see these vines come out the back of the plant and attach to the stem that she plucked it from, and they kind of like reseal itself there. And you swear you hear this plant giggling as it like leans back into it. You swear you hear this plant giggling, and
just like
you feel pretty good
goes-
about it.
Yeah. Ohm just goes, woo! Oh man, brother, you gotta try that.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Oh.
Coffee is fine for me. I'll
Can we take some of that home with us or on the ship
No.
or something?
No.
Oh.
You just belched flames. The ship
Hey.
is wood. Please, no.
Yeah. All right. I lean over to Terrestrial and say, "Hey, you should slip me some of that before we leave."
She kind of just laughs loudly. Absolutely not. It takes forever to brew this.
All right. Well, I'll be coming back to visit you then.
I certainly hope that isn't just an empty threat.
Of course
not. So all of this is happening there. It's just, all right then. I guess. Well, you all look like you've been through quite a bit. The ritual may take a few hours to prepare. Is anything that you're doing here more time sensitive than the hatching of these eggs? I would imagine that when these other eggs hatch, then the bronze dragon mother, her first lesson to her children would probably be how to raise an entire civilization out of vengeance. Luckily, I do have informants on the status of the eggs. So I may get enough warning when they are ready. She has to bathe them in her breath weapon pretty regularly so that they can maintain and hatch healthily. So she can't leave them. And that gives us time. Just not entirely sure how much. Ica, she kind of looks sternly at Ica, and you see Ica kind of shrivels up a little bit, and she says, "What are they trying to do with this egg?" And Ica says, "I didn't want it to be true, but I'm pretty sure they carved a sliver off of it so that I can make the bronze dragon cannon that we're going to attach to their ship now. I think they're making weapons. I think they're using the lightning from the bronze dragon egg, the natural primordial energy that kind of forms these baby dragons, at least that's what you told me, to make weapons." And she says, "Of course, such short-sighted individuals, they will risk their entire moon to hopefully maybe be able to take another humanoid out." "Do you know where they are?" She says, "No, I didn't work my way up far enough to find out where the Zealot Temple is." "Then that's what we will have to search for." "So what is the priority then, ladies and gentlemen? Do we try and find the Zealots and retrieve the egg, or do we take care of the spelljamming ritual first?"
I feel you say that we do have some time with the eggs. I think getting the ship, the ritual taken care of first would behoove us in case we need it for a quick escape or whatever may come our way. That's what I feel. At least I don't know about the rest of it.
Yeah, what if we need the big gun to take down the zealots? You know?
I guess my curiosity is if we have any grasp of the length of time needed on those eggs hatching compared to how long it might take us to complete these rituals that you're referring to.
Well, I can't say for certain, but I think the dragon eggs probably have maybe a week or more, maybe less, somewhere in there, week give or take, before they're ready to hatch. But that's just based on normal gestation periods, and of course, it's always different depending on the creature. And this particular ancient dragon hasn't had children in maybe a few millennia. So there's really no telling.
And the rituals?
But a few hours after, it would probably take an hour to complete the ritual. It will take me maybe 5 hours to maybe 5 or 6 hours to prepare everything that will be needed to conduct it.
I think that might be a question for Claire more than anything. Your thoughts, Claire?
Yes, darling. What do you think?
I'm conflicted. On one hand, the eggs are important. On the other hand, if we don't have a good enough ship, we might not be able to help. So I think we go with the ship.
Or make a quick getaway if needed. I think that's a wise choice.
I agree. And you see Ica kind of say, she looks a little anxious there. She's kind of like rocking back and forth, kind of like clapping her hands together. Doesn't seem to say anything though.
Ica, do you have an input on this situation? You've been closer to that egg in this, the ones that we're going to be dealing with here more than any of us.
She says, "I haven't seen the egg since the ambush, and I really I know that the longer we take, the more likely it is that my friends are dead. But yeah. without some kind of weapons on your ship, you're not going to stand any chance against Gaussian's fleet. The problem is I don't know what this opening is that they keep talking about. They keep saying, oh, the opening, the opening. You see Terrestrian get very stern and dark, and almost the whole area around you gets kind of dark. You can hear up in the trees these massive reptilian cat creatures. Like one of them kind of gets up on their hind legs and just like snaps and then dashes away. And Terrestrian kind of says, Aika, the opening. How have you come to learn of this? And I guess it's a thing? I thought they were crazy. They attacked us, killed Vise, took Fina and Drachma, and they said, this will serve the opening. And they kind of like, it's weird. And she says, the opening is a legend of significant verity. It's thought that the storm that makes up the core of this moon is actually a lock, as if to a door, a lock connecting to an outer plane. That's why I'm here. Celestian thought it would be good for me to watch this place, and I kind of liked this place, so I said, sure, I'll hang out here. It's pleasant enough. And I'm here to observe it, to observe the door, and report if there are any changes. And of course, it's just such a lovely place to live, so I had to kind of stick around. That's why the bronze dragon mother, her name is Galatea. That's why she's having children, because she knows she is kind of in her twilight years and will be soon passing on to wherever it is that dragons go. I don't know much of the higher planes. They are the ancient guardians of Typhon, that is the name of the storm. And they are the only creatures that can travel through the storm, apparently, the metallic dragons, particularly the bronze metallic dragons. Because of the lightning, they like it, I guess, I don't know.
Kestis is going to kind of just look intrinsically a bit for a second and just kind of be thinking back to the laboratory and the mind flares, breakers, splitters, whatever they were called. The pink boys. There was, if I remember correctly, at least one of us that heard them talking during that time, and I remember something of, I don't know if this is going to be a history check, but something of them talking about to what end that they were serving, or if we had found something to what end that they were working towards. Just kind of finding some conjunction between them and the Capulets' presence here, all this happening at the same time.
You definitely remember them trying to open portals. You definitely remember that happening as you guys saw one of them kind of working on the device, the weird devices that they had in there that were channeling this thought energy to tear open color portals.
Would share as whatever recollection of that I would have of that with Terrestrian. Say our experience of the Capulets, while maybe not directly what you're talking about, seems to be at least some way adjacent, and if you're a guardian of such a thing, it might be worth you knowing this, of their involvement in their activities.
And you mean to say that they are... You mean to say that these Leonin, the Capulets, are working with the Illithids?
If that's the name for them, then yes, I do believe so. And I mean, it's hard to think that this would be a coincidence that they keep happening to show up in a place that has such magical and, consequential properties. Them working with these beasts and channeling this mind energy, this thought energy into what we understand as them trying to open portals. Seems a bit too consequential and too convenient for me.
Absolutely, I am agreeing with you there. That's incredibly coincidental, and then a student of my brother's shows up. Fate has a funny way of pushing these things together. What do you know of this child? She kind of speaks to Claire directly. Has Celestian spoken to you about any of these portals or the higher or lower planes and traveling between them?
To be honest, don't really remember if he did. He might have.
What brought you to my brother? Older brother, of course. I'm not the baby, but I am significantly younger than he is. Don't I look it?
Certainly.
You, Jiff, she kind of looks to Ohm, whatever you like to call yourselves, are quite charming, aren't you?
Jeff.
Matter of fact is more, I would use the term for myself rather than charming. My brother.
We're honest, is what we are.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So, Claire, I believe. What brought you to my brother?
I was lost and needed guidance.
Well, he certainly does think himself one to guide others. I do love him dearly. I don't mean to speak down on him. He just is so aloof, and you can't really enjoy life unless you're in it. You know what I mean? Well, of course you do. Look at you out here traveling. You certainly haven't followed in his astral footsteps, if you will. That's the thing, though, right? About life. Sometimes it hurts, but that's what makes it feel so good. Anyway, I don't know. And she kind of points up into the trees. You stop running, stop it. You get to make the preparations ready, and you watch one of the like reptilian cat creatures kind of jump down and like head first into the ground. The ground just kind of opens up, and for a moment you can see your ship is directly underneath, and then it closes. You see another one kind of bounce off into the distance.
Whoa. Was there something in that drink that made me see things, or did that thing just jump into the ground?
No, that hasn't actually started yet. Soon. You should probably sit down.
Wait, what?
Yes. It's time release, if you will.
Oh. Uh-oh. Brother, I'm going to go sit down.
Certainly. Like we spoke of a little bit earlier, the life jamming chair. Would you be able to remove?
Yes, sorry. So many things happening at once. Okay, so remove it. I'd have to take a look at it. In fact, that's what my friend there, Frederick, is going to do now. He's going to take a look and see what he can learn of it. I have instructed him not to touch anything, of course, because life gems can be incredibly deadly.
Yes, that's what my notes say. I was very. The area seems to be in decay, and it's just.
Yes, it's trying
very
to
dangerous.
eat. It's trying to consume
the dwarf friend of ours,
all
Holgren,
life.
who helped us, who got us the ship, or was with us at the beginning. He sat in a chair, and it was.
I'm sorry, you said his name was
Hilgern.
Hilgern? What was his name?
Yes, it's a little dwarf chap. Holgern.
I don't know this one. Oh, Holgun. Sorry, I don't know him. No.
But yes, he sat in the chair when we were trying to make an escape from the Leonins and some other nonsense that was happening with all this stuff like.
I assume it killed him and consumed his essence.
No. Luckily, we were able to. Claire was able to balance it to where he was able to get out of the chair in time and not kill him.
Really, this one? You are quite impressive, aren't you, darling? You should speak up more. Really, there are some things that you've already accomplished that are nigh impossible. No one wins a battle with a life jammer. That's incredibly impressive what you have accomplished here.
Ing kind of looks at Claire and he looks back at Tristan and he kind of winks and he's kind of nodding his head at Claire, like looking at her like.
Not subtle.
Never said Ing was subtle. He tries. He thinks he is, but he's not.
It was a lot, but it wasn't
You saved his life, dear.
more than just it, but it'll never be enough.
I'm sorry, what? You're too far away to be speaking so low. What is it you're saying?
It saved more than his life, but feels like
Oh,
never be enough.
now I see. Okay, a humble flex. I understand. Good. You deserve to. If you
Feels like it's
survived
over.
my brother's training, you'd probably deserve more than that. He can be quite a hard one.
She certainly
absolute
proved herself
sweetheart, but-
in our travels. There's no question there.
Yes, you all do seem to be quite accomplished. I certainly hope whatever it is that you have learned through your lives up to this point will help you, because Galcian will be a difficult, opponent for you all if you're not able to just kind of steal away the egg. The sooner we get it back to the Bronze Dragon Mother, the great Galatea, as I have mentioned, the sooner we get it back to her, the better, because if those eggs hatch, then it's going to be a very sticky situation. Well, I guess for now, you can all just relax until the ritual is ready, then I will let you know. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. What kind of domicile would you like? I can kind of whip up a grass, thatched roofed kind of hut for you if you'd like, or I can whip up something that might take a little longer.
That would
Maybe
be
a log
more
cabin
than-
situation.
A hut, as long as there's a room for me in there, is more than acceptable to me. Would you happen to have any books?
Would you like
on all
individuals?
this that I can read while I'm in there?
Books.
Yes.
Oh, on spelljamming. No, darling, I don't have books on spelljamming. No, it's all inside here. If you want, we can have a would you like some tea? I have an incredibly delicious moss and mushroom tea that we can
I
have,
prefer
share,
coffee,
and
but caffeine is caffeine.
that's
Oh.
disgusting.
I'll have another one of those drinks. Wow, look at that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's at about this time. You're starting to see what appears, for all intents and purposes, to be polar bears swimming through the air around you.
Get over here, you big white cuddly thing, you. Get him.
And you see the polar bear looks bashful and says, "No." It kind of swims
I'm
away
gonna
from you.
get you.
You all see Om clearly speaking with nothing.
Okay, brother.
Oh, it's best not to disturb them. It'll pass soon enough.
See the polar
Is he seeing
bears?
something we are not thirsty at? What I am confused.
You don't see the polar bears, brother?
No. Polar bears.
You're missing out.
What was in that
They're
drink?
marvelous.
It's a mild hallucinogenic. I guess it's mild for me.
Yeah. Terestian, if I might bend your ear for a period of time, certain doesn't have to be right this moment, but I think there's probably some further discussion that we might be able to have.
So the promise of conversation is an incredibly annoying and boring thing for me. Either we talk or we don't talk, right? If you'd like to, yes, I'm going to make some tea. We can all sit around and have a conversation if you'd like, or we cannot. It is entirely up to you.
I think it's safe to say that
We have time to kill. Beautiful then. So I think we can kind of end the session here, guys. Does that feel good for everybody? Yeah. Good stuff. Here's the thing that I would like to do. If there are any questions and things that you want to ask Terrestrian, you could do so in the Discord, then I will answer, and then we can just have that have happened. And when we get to the next session, unless you really want to do the roleplay stuff, I'm all for that. But when we get to the next session, we can kind of skip all that shit and,
I
get
think
right
that's
to the
a good
ritual.
idea.
I like that. That's a good idea. Well,
Sounds
Ohm's just
good.
gonna pass out anyway.
We
you
can
know,
we can do
Ing
that
has
in the
far too
in the
many
roleplay.
questions, and none that I have all
Yeah.
in my head at this moment. Anyway.
Yeah,
So-
I was just gonna say we can put the roleplay thread to use a little bit, because a lot of the stuff
Works
that I
for
was
me.
gonna be talking to her about was that time between life and death and a lot of the planar stuff that
Ooh,
that
it might
Kestis
work too.
said.
Is
Okay.
if we make, would you want? Might help you out too.
Threads.
In the roleplay thread. Maybe we make maybe we make threads in there so that way you can have these roleplay for each
And different-
instead of it just being
It's a good
this.
idea.
I mean, we could
It would
do
be a
that,
group
but
conversation, right? So
yeah, I would imagine that it's everybody kind of like in and out as they want to, hanging out in the same place or not, having different conversations and stuff. So
yeah, Kestis wasn't trying to have like a private conversation with her. It was just like there's
right.
probably further things that we should discuss, kind of thing.
I think Lunga meant more for like just keeping it organized for our
Yeah.
being able to like go through it as notes essentially, so we can when we come back and talk about it. But I mean, yeah, either one works.
I mean, we could. You know, we'll see what happens.
Because I think Ohm's probably gonna wake up and ask some questions about polar bears. You know, so
Yeah, feel free to see whatever you want to see while you're
Cool.
fucking tripping. I don't
yeah, absolutely, man.
Enjoy
Absolutely.
it, make it fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Meaning
of life shit. I like it.
Absolutely, you can have the full ayahuasca trip if you want to.
Well, you know,
come out of it a
remember,
changed person.
You know,
I
going
do
meta.
know, I do know, and that's what I'm
you
hoping
do know.
for.
Yeah,
So maybe let's just okay.
you know. I'm Aaron Watson.
So
That's my dark place.
I guess that's it. I don't know. I'm like kind of got a headache, so I don't really want to do stars and wishes.
me
But if there's
too.
anything that you guys
I-
want to talk about, please feel free. We're here, right? We might as well do it. But great stuff again, guys. Love the stuff. Love all of
That
the
was fun.
role play and reactions and stuff. So
Double nat 20s, baby.
Dude, it was way too. I mean, you had double nat 20s on the same roll. Claire had nat 20s.
Two
separate
nat
apart,
20s,
and then
yep.
and
Both
Austin had a nat
perception
20 with a -1.
Yeah,
But-
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
nat 20 on
-1.
nat 20 on the puzzle.
Yes. Yeah.
Love it.
That was. Yeah. Good shit. The Hydra puzzle was fun too,
That was
I
really
know
cool.
you
I
hate
really like that
puzzles.
one.
but that was a good one.
thank you. I'm trying.
I call it.
Well,
I
thank
call
you
it a
all
good
for
one for
showing up
purely
and playing.
selfish reasons
Yeah,
because I could
man.
figure it out. That's why it was a good one.
Because you
I-
can actually figure it out without math.
Yes. Right.
I really enjoy the puzzles that have like something to do with kind of like not intrinsic historical knowledge, but like wouldn't necessarily be common knowledge to the characters, maybe to the players, but
Yeah.
and then like
agreed.
having like an inscription that like only one person can read and like would have to be if we didn't prompt Claire to read that, then we wouldn't have the inscription kind of thing. So
I have to ask because it reminded me a little bit. Were you thinking about Lord of the Rings and entering Moria and the whole speak for the enter kind of thing, like metal?
No, but
No,
it definitely does. It definitely
does
rings of
feel-
the same shit. Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
it definitely is the same shit. So maybe,
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe subconsciously, you know, being Yeah.
maybe.
yeah. Perfect. Cool. All right.
I enjoyed it.
I'm really looking forward to Claire speaking full sentences about some of her history at some point here in the near future.
Yeah. Hint, hint,
She's
nudge, nudge.
going
It.
through it.
Every player character was like elbowing you in the back.
She's going through it right now.
Just go for it
fucking-
audibly.
Ing thinking he's subtle and just wink wink.
Well, he's been
That's
piecing
funny.
shit together. He hasn't figured it all out, so he wants to hear it come out of her mouth of what's going on here. He's not hearing it.
I thought Ing was shipping him.
No. He wanted her to start talking because he's heard the bits and pieces of her background, which is kind of mysterious, and there's something going on. And this seemed like, this is where it's all going to come out. This is like you're reading a book, and you're like, oh, here we go. Here's the info dump. Here's when it's coming, and he didn't get it.
How about those Capulets?
Yeah,
Those
you
motherfucking
working that was
Capulets.
good. Fucking Capulets. Fucking Capulets. I can't wait till we run into some Capulets so I can skewer them with my long sword. Oh yeah, fucking Capulets.
Thought you left those
I
guys
really
on
enjoyed
What the fuck are they doing out here in Wildspace? What are they
Right?
doing out here?
I don't know.
Middle of
Don't know
everything. Man.
vocabulary.
Their fucking fingers are in everything. Find it everywhere we go. They're fucking popping up like fucking herpes.
Maybe
No matter
Ohm
what you
will
do,
end
you
up on
can't get rid of them.
maybe Ohm will end up on the ancestral plane, you know, and he'll get answers from our ancestors in the blood feud. How long
What is
it's
this,
gone back?
Black
and shit.
Hippo? Is that what we're doing now?
Hey man, hey,
The
man.
ghosts of Romeo and Juliet are gonna come and speak to you in tongues.
I really enjoyed the scene with the Oryx and when they were stampeding, because I don't know if it was just a combination of what
Yeah.
everyone was doing, the music, and what was going on. I really, in my head, I saw the scene. I saw how everyone was moving and acting.
Mhm.
It was really vivid.
Beautiful.
So I enjoyed that.
That's what we're going for. Beautiful success.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, all great ideas, right? Great living in the moment kind of stuff, and kind of responding to what's happening there, and then the fucking rolls, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like all over
The
the
dice had
All
a
place.
you
story to tell.
motherfuckers want to keep going into trees. He's telling us they fucking literally just make a path and destroy everything in its path. Everyone wanted to climb the motherfucking trees. Why are we climbing the trees?
He could have. Zaltic could have made it out of the way. Like he could have,
With the
you know.
roll.
Right.
Yeah, but he
I
wasn't
never.
No, but he wasn't the only one. There's a few other people that wanted to
Yeah.
climb the trees too.
Well,
No.
yeah. Well, you're the one
There's a
who
lot
put your
happening.
body. Like, if I wish you had gone first, because then my decision might have been to do something to like protect. It would have been totally different, probably, if you had done yours first.
At some point, Ohm's gonna have to start acting with his own agency too.
Well, which he has started
but
doing.
that's an interesting dynamic, because
It is.
he always feels, because he is the older brother
By minutes.
yeah, by minutes. He always feels like he's got to protect Ing, and Ing
Yep.
knows he doesn't necessarily need protecting.
Yeah, he just lets him do it.
Right.
Yeah, because he
He's an
knows his
enabler.
brother doesn't. So because Ohm doesn't have
makes
that
him happy.
intellect to realize that Ing's doing it on purpose. You know, Ohm's got that confidence boost and feels good about himself every time he protects his brother.
Yeah, and Ing throws himself in danger all the time, so it
Yes,
works
on
It's
purpose
cyclical.
sometimes, obviously. Very cyclical.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Well, he does have, obviously, Ing, even though Ohm is the one trying to protect Ing all the time, Ing has a kind of protector complex. He feels like he's, maybe just because of his size, just because of whatever, he always feels that
I think it's a gift slash
he wants to
GIF
put
thing.
himself in front of danger. And not
Yeah.
necessarily because he thinks people behind him are weak, but just
No, I think a lot of it also has to do with Ing's
to
technology.
spare them any of the pain. He'd rather take than
Well, also you want
He's
to
a
use your
linebacker.
technology and show off
Yeah.
your technology as well. I think is part of it. Things like,
He
look what
doesn't
I
think
can
about
do.
that when he's
Look
in
what I
tank
can
mode.
do.
When he's in tank mode, he's not thinking about that. He's literally 100% thinking about just protecting or taking the heat, if you will, of whatever is coming there.
He's a little Tony Starkish, I think.
A little bit.
A little bit. With more social awkwardness. That's what I, you know.
Love it. I'm gonna
Good
go to bed.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed
All
too.
right, Austin. Have a good night, guys.
Word up.
That's
Everybody
how
have a
Thank
good
you for
night.
joining us. We'll be back Friday
It's
with
been a
Horde of
pleasure.
Dragon Queen, and Tuesday we'll be continuing
Next
Souls
Tuesday.
of Magic Star next
Yeah.
Tuesday. Because Coda's dead, so we got to see the aftermath of that. So thank you again. Till next time. So
Yep.
we all.